Good morning, everybody. I'm Megan Fox. I write with pjmedia.com. I'm a columnist, and this is True Crime Tuesday. I'm so excited for today's show because I have been a fan of Colonel Kurtz's YouTube channel, of Kristen's channel over there on YouTube for so long, and she's here with us today, and so is Lisa from the Manson Cases, and we are going to talk about how the reason why I put this in True Crime Tuesday is because truly, what has been done to Marilyn Manson is a crime, I tell you, and it should be charged in criminal court. Welcome to the program, Kristen and Lisa. I am so happy to have you here. I can't even tell you. I'm like off the walls. I've been jumping up and down since last night.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Wow, I know I can speak for Lisa too when I say that we're just glad that this story is getting some attention finally. And thank you for doing a program on it. And it's nice to see it in some headlines, and because it's been going on for 2 years, and we've kind of been hoping that some people would see it.
Well, and I owe you an apology too.
Oh.
My editor could actually back me up on this because probably a year ago, I've been watching your channel for over a year, Kristen. I've been watching all of this, and I've been in agreement with you totally. I mean, completely. In fact, I watched Phoenix Rising about, I don't know, 8 months ago, or whenever it came out, and you were talking about it. I'm like, I got to watch this for myself. And I walked out of that thinking, it is 90% certain this is all made up bullshit.
Wow.
90% certain this is all made up bullshit. Just by watching their own documentary that they spent no time sourcing, no time fact checking. They asked no hard questions. I can't believe they should be shaking in their boots today. They should be very worried that Marilyn Manson might decide to amend his lawsuit and add HBO in for the defamation that they have done to him, because that whole thing was defamatory.
It was a total hit job. I don't know the legalities of suing, for a documentary. I've been told by attorneys that that's a very high bar, but man, it would make such a statement because, I mean, and Lisa, can tell you, it's a complete hit job, like from start to finish.
Well, yeah, and I do want to add, I remember reading an interview when Phoenix Rising came out. Manson's attorney, Howard King, said they don't want to sue HBO because they believe that they were also fooled by this, fooled by Evan Rachel Wood, fooled by all these alleged
there's no
victims.
Excuse for that. There's no I'm sorry. As a journalist, there's no excuse for that. They call themselves journalists behind that camera. They say that they're investigating something. Well, then they damn well better investigate it. And they didn't do that. They did not do that. They didn't even do basic investigation. Who did they talk to besides these women? Did they talk to the ex-husband, Evan Rachel Wood's ex-husband, very much? Because it doesn't seem like they talked to him at all. But they allowed her to use the story, she was running and taking this child because of their safety issues. And how come they didn't talk to her husband? Find out what was his opinion on that? Because we know that was completely made up baloney too. But for those of you who are just catching up in the chat, because some of you may not know about this story, let me quickly tell you why this is blowing up all over the place. I have an article I need you to click on. Even if you are not a member of VIP on PJ Media, I still want you to click on it because it helps. It helps me. But we will go over it so you don't miss anything. But I'm dropping it in the chat for you. My latest article I guess I'll drop it in Facebook too for my one person who watches me there. And welcome Rumble, by the way. And I don't know what it is with Facebook, but it went from like being huge numbers to like one person watching on Facebook. So they're either shadow banning me or maybe I just lost my audience there. I don't know. I'm not sure. But Tina on Facebook, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. All right, so Rumble, I'm dropping it in your chat. Raceland 9000, congratulations on being first in the Rumble chat. We are going to get, let me see. I got to go to locals too. So go to meganfox.locals.com. Kristen, do you have a locals? Are you doing locals yet?
I don't. I'm kind of behind the social media games. You can find me at the Colonel Kurtz 99 handle on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok now. I'm trying to do TikTok. Yes, I'm like John Cena. No, it's a joke. Anyway,
I've been meaning to tell you. I saw your announcement about that, and I was like, no, we've lost another one to TikTok. The Chinese.
I just want everyone to know that Taiwan is not a real country. That's all I have to say. So moving on.
Oh God, she's been
Sorry.
taken.
Go on.
The Chinese got to her. I'm so concerned about TikTok. I think TikTok's going to be the downfall of civilization. However, maybe the answer is for more good content creators to take over on TikTok. But it really is a scary place over there. All right, so here's what happened. Let me share this with you guys because this is huge. This is huge news. This is better than anything we got with Amber Heard, by the way. I mean, it's close, but not this is almost better, I think. I mean, the tapes of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp with where she's clearly admitting to being an abuser, that's like on the level of what we're looking at here, except maybe even better because we have an admission, a confession,
A legal declaration.
a
Yes.
legal declaration from one of these women. What's her name? Ashley Smithline, right? Smithline, who says, I succumbed to pressure from Evan Rachel Wood and her associates to make accusations of rape and assault against Manson that were not true. She wrote this in a declaration, which was obtained by People magazine. Although People corroborated her story with multiple sources for our multiple other lying women in our 2021 cover story, Smithline says she felt pressured by her attorney to speak out about her accusations in a press tour. The model claims that she was repeatedly gaslit by Wood and others, including Ashley Walters, a former assistant of Manson's who sued him for sexual assault and battery in 2021. Wood's girlfriend, Ilma Gore, and Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, to believe she had been abused in ways similar to the ways they claimed they had been. Bianco filed a lawsuit against Manson in 2021 that was settled in January. So we all know that Manson filed a defamation suit against Wood and Gore, and now it's falling apart. Now I want to bring up these little video clips that I took of Smithline on The View when she was making these allegations. And I want to know what kind of journalist sitting on this panel of women didn't see this for what it was. This woman is clearly lying. Let's take a look.
Well, and I just want to say, Megan,
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
just to set that up real quick too. So what we found out since then, as you probably know, and what from Ashley, is that she was under a lot of pressure and duress to do from these women, these conspirators, and from her own attorney to do these interviews, and she did not feel comfortable at all. And I think that comes through. And it's like you're saying, people should have noticed this.
People should have noticed this. Yes.
I understand that you traveled to Asia.
Oh, shoot. My computer's going to do this thing now.
Throughout this relationship. But you say that you kept coming back to him when you would return to the United States. So help us understand why you would keep going back. And what made you finally leave him, in fact?
I was extremely manipulated. I felt like I was coerced into, being with him in the first place. And as unsafe as it was, I felt that I couldn't escape it.
This is the thing that killed me in the documentary, by the way. Evan Rachel Wood's story that she left him as well to get on a plane to go to a taping of a movie that she was in, and she claimed that he was so abusive to her, and then she reports in the documentary she went back of her own free will because she missed her boyfriend. That was her words. She missed her boyfriend, and I'm like, no, that's not how any of this works. It just isn't.
Yeah, well, there's lots of cliches about domestic violence and things that we're just always supposed to accept blindly. And one of those is the fact that it's perfectly normal for a woman to go back to an abusive situation. I recognize that happens a lot, but also, is it normal for that woman, like Evan Rachel Wood, years after the fact, to do these glowing interviews praising this man, even as late as 2014, right, Lisa? She was praising him in interviews.
She was praising him up until 2016, because when I was on Megan, your show last time, we pulled up the article from Rolling Stone where she first claimed that she was essayed. And she was saying nice things about Manson, confirmed that the music video was consensual. It wasn't like this made up story now about it being a sexual assault type of thing. it's very strange. And then the Me Too movement hits, and all of a sudden she's now this activist. She's in Congress. She's testifying in California, and it just
really
seemed,
raising her profile.
yeah.
Yep.
And it seems like little nuggets, people were believing with these little nuggets that it was Marilyn Manson the whole time, and she didn't even have to say the name.
Here's the thing. I also want to point out, it's great that Ashley Smithline came out and told the truth. So I don't want to like disparage her.
No,
but
I think it's good that, I think it's good that you're showing these. You should show this next one, which I think is
Oh, this
probably
one
the
is
most
amazing.
egregious. And we're not here to make
Yes.
fun of her because
No.
actually, like, it turns out, let me just say this, and I think you'll agree. It turns out that she did a shitty job in these interviews, not because she was bad at deception, but because she really just like felt like she was uncomfortable and she was ambivalent about it and she was being pressured. So like looking back at this now, I'm like, well, good for her. Like maybe she's got a conscience or whatever. It was bothering her. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I agree. And Blurple Dragon, thanks for the super chat, says, "Good morning, Megan. There aren't any journalists on The View, sweetheart. Love you." That's true. That might be true. Although they say they are, that they're supposed to be looking for the truth. And Meghan McCain really ticked me off in this interview because she was like, "I'm so sorry for these things that happened to you." And it's like, look, you can interview someone like this, but you don't give them you don't say what they're saying is true when you don't know. And they did damage to Marilyn Manson just by allowing this to go on. All right, let's watch this one.
Flew out, and within the next.
Oh, my computer. Hold on.
It's okay. I can hear it fine when I turn it.
Home. I woke up bound, and he was having sex with my unconscious body. So that was my first experience, and then from there it was the abuse just worsened. I was dehumanized. I was degraded. I was treated like an animal that. Yeah.
Ashley, I know this is very
Wow. Well, yeah. I remember it. I remember it.
I was treated like I
know. And the way that the attorney just sort of sits there like grimacing, like he's just hoping to get through it. And well, now, and apparently now Ashley is saying that several things were going on. First of all, she didn't want to do these interviews. She was pressured to do them. They even told her apparently how she should talk. And then also apparently when this attorney, I see someone in your comments was talking about her lawsuit that she originally filed against Manson and how it had all these outrageous things in it. Apparently at least Ashley said in this legal declaration that her attorney put a bunch of shit in there that she didn't approve of, and she ended up firing that attorney, and that was a whole other thing. So she's been on a kind of a roller coaster with this thing.
Oh yeah, and I definitely want to add that's definitely something that needs to be focused on is that Jay Alwainer is also, or he was also, Esme Bianco's attorney. So for there to be these claims in Ashley Morgan Smithline's declaration claiming what if you read it, it sounds like she's saying she didn't write it, she didn't approve of it, but then it was filed. So until there's more information on that, it's very sketchy.
Yeah, she also, the body language here is amazing. And I know a lot of people feel like, body language experts are baloney, but I really feel like we're all body language experts because we watch each other all day long. And when you watch this person, she looks like she's trying to crawl out of her own skin.
Yeah,
like
she doesn't want to be
there's
there.
something inside of her that wants to get away, and like she keeps making these movements. And I have this other, let me see, I have this other clip of actually Evan Rachel Wood where her body language.
Oh, this is terrible.
Oh, her body language is so bad in this.
I made a dumb TikTok video out of this because it's so bad. So
Oh,
I
did
love
you?
Yeah. Check out my TikTok. No, but I love
should
it,
go to
though,
your TikTok
seriously.
and get it very
Seriously,
sad.
that TikTok though went a little viral.
It did go viral.
Yeah.
Where did you put it? How can I get it?
So if y'all go to TikTok, it's the same handle. It's Colonel Kurtz 99 that you see there. And anyway, I've got some videos, but I did one about her scratching her neck through this whole interview, and it got like over 100,000 views. So let's watch. Though it's great.
But she does, and it's unbelievable. hold on. I hate it when you open TikTok and it just starts
You're
playing.
fine. Oh, you don't have to play it now. No worries. It's I was
No, I'm
I
gonna
was just saying
find
I
it.
like this clip.
I'm gonna find it because I didn't write down timestamps
And
anyway.
it's so good because there's people that love it and people that hate it. That's why it's going viral.
Yeah, it's getting some reaction. That's for sure. It's the
Yeah.
one. It says what
Here we
the
go.
yeah
I
WTF for
found
next.
it. I found it. Okay.
But watch the original first. Yeah, it'd be funny to see.
Let's see. Wait, is it this one? Wait, hold on. Let me pull it up. Is it this one?
No, that's another one where Drew Barrymore is sucking up to her.
That's a good one too. That one's
How do you
right,
respond
yeah.
to both his denial and his lawyer's denial?
Well, we did not have sex on set. I was raped on set. It's a difference. But I don't even really have to say anything.
You don't?
You said there was much more through the course of the relationship. What was that other abuse?
I mean, we would have to sit here for 6 hours for me to go through everything, honestly. But ultimately, yes,
He filed a lawsuit against you. You say his name is Brian Warner, and forged a document purporting to be from an FBI agent.
and you know, I'm steady as a rock and stuff. And you know, these people very often tell on themselves.
That's it.
That was a great ending, by the way.
Steady as a rock.
Steady as a rock, dude. She doesn't care what people think.
Oh my goodness.
But show them the video. The original.
Yeah, because this is something. Let's see, where does she start touching her neck? Because that's the part where it's almost like her body is telling her.
Yeah,
her body is telling her, like, stop talking.
In the shoot, from planning to editing, even. Manson says he did not have sex with you on that set. Can you tell us, how did this video shoot affect you, and how do you respond to both his denial and his lawyer's denial?
Well, we did not have sex on set. I was raped on set. The difference. And when you're inebriated like that, you can't consent, especially as a minor.
Right.
Whoa,
you weren't a minor.
As
Yeah,
a minor,
she wasn't
you
a minor.
just said earlier in this clip that she was 19.
I know. She
was
tries to play
19,
that trick.
yeah.
So what she's trying to do is she's taking the fact that in America, legal drinking age is 21, and she's like trying to use that minor thing because they were giving me alcohol and I was a minor. But of course, you know, I know you two know that she was enthusiastic. She was an enthusiastic drug taker and
Oh, yeah.
drinker, and she
I mean,
was
drugs
a
are
big
illegal
partier.
for everyone. So
She was
it
a big
doesn't matter
partier,
if you're not
yeah.
21.
Well, there are
drugs
interviews.
illegal.
Yeah, there are interviews from when she was with Manson at 19 where she says she drinks and does drugs with him.
She
It's just
identified
there's,
as a minor.
like-
That's funny, Jacob.
I mean, okay. So it gets worse here. They start asking her some just
When they
very-
ask her about the lawsuit a little bit later on, that's when she just starts looking down. She talks.
You gotta
the
go back
whole
to
time.
you gotta go back to the middle part where she does the hand thing, the
What hand
magical.
We know this too well. It's
All right,
American.
Yeah.
what
Right
time
there.
is-
I
right
think
here.
right,
Okay,
I think
right.
so. Where she describes buzzwords.
Around this issue is so geared around shame and blame and victim blaming, and that is by design. And you know, even in the way we speak about these things, you know, we're still asking victims the question why they didn't leave, and the fact that we're still asking that question
I don't know if it's
tells
this
me
one,
how
but
much
it's
work
coming
there
here.
is to do.
I don't know, but it's
And
funny.
nobody
Like
ever
she's
asked why the abuser
she's
didn't
so
leave.
into
You
her
know, if he was
stuff.
so upset, if he hated you so much, you know, why are you hit?
Okay, but here's the thing that really pisses me off, though, about this "why didn't you leave" situation, how women sometimes don't leave. The reason, and the only reason why abuse victims usually don't leave, is because they are financially unable to do so. They are hooked into their abuser he's the only provider. That's their roof over their head. It's the food on their table, possibly the support for their kids.
Mm.
That's why women don't leave. This woman had access to a private jet. There is no way that she couldn't leave. She did leave. And then she came back of her own free will. And if you're being abused and you have the access and the resources to get away, that's why we have women's shelters. That's why we have places for women to go, because that's why they don't leave. It's not because they don't want to leave. It's because they cannot survive.
Well, I think that's a good point. And, you know, to be honest with you, I'm open to the idea, having seen it with some friends, that women can stick around abuse just out of love and the cycle and hoping that the guy's eventually going to get better. But again, what I think is so outrageous, Megan, is that she has lied about so many things that are just demonstrably ridiculous. Like, for instance, claiming that she was AR'd. I don't know if we can say these words
We
or not on different
can.
shows.
Wait,
Okay,
look,
okay.
my
Okay, cool.
channel is totally demonetized most of the time anyway.
I'm the same
And
way.
this is True Crime Tuesday, so we say the word
Okay.
rape, and we say whatever words we need to
Great.
because we're not going to
Great.
hide the truth from people.
No, it's
So
good.
Go
She
right ahead.
claims, so for people who don't know, one of her craziest claims, and she really, I don't know, this wasn't even necessary. It was like she just wanted to reach really far. She claims that on the set of Heart-Shaped Glasses, a Marilyn Manson music video that she was in, by the way, he made sure that she was paid the highest that an actress, highest amount an actress had ever been paid to be in a music video because he was so in love with her. But anyway, they did this music video, and there were a couple of sex scenes in it. And she's claiming now, after all these years, that that was not simulated sex and that he raped her in front of everyone. That when you're watching that music video, if you go and watch that, in fact, she was wanting it to get pulled from the internet because it's a depiction of her rape. I mean, it's so absurd. There were people who were there, some of whom have been on my channel and said this was not true.
Sounds like Eliza Blue.
It's crazy. It is. It is. No, you're right. It is. Taking something that was consensually done when she was going through this edgy, period in her life, and now it's all been recast as like, oh, it was someone else's fault.
Nonsense. What total nonsense.
Yep.
Let's see. I know there's more in here where she's like itching at her neck. And
Yeah, so
like,
go to sorry, I've seen this too many times. It's a little later when they ask her about the lawsuit. So about right here. See.
Okay, let's see.
Ask you one question because I think it's important. When someone begins to isolate you,
it's a
from
little
your
bit later.
family,
We're almost there.
Is
I
that
hate
something
the
a
grooming.
family member?
I hate
Go
it
ahead,
when
we
they
watch
talk
the
about. I hate it when they talk about the grooming aspect of this because I feel like when you're using the word grooming, I don't think it really attaches to an adult.
No, it shouldn't.
Grooming adults. It is the word grooming is about grooming a child into doing something that they would not normally do. An adult, though, has a higher level of responsibility than a child. A child has no responsibility for protecting themselves from abuse. An adult, on the other hand, you kind of do. Like, you have responsibility when you're 18. I hate this idea of like, I was 19 and he was 34 or however old. Yeah, I dated a 34-year-old when I was 19. That was my choice. And I'm not going to say he groomed me. That's ridiculous. I was an adult. But I could, according to these women, I could go back and say, yeah, he groomed me. I if I regretted it or whatever, which I don't, because that's ridiculous. Because, be an adult, own your decisions, own your shit. Like, it's just dumb to me.
Right. I totally agree.
Ugh, I hate it when they talk about grooming.
Just to know that there were people. I mean, I had friends that used to circle the neighborhood I lived
There we
in.
go. It's when this lady on the right starts
to the
talking.
documentary.
There we go.
You're still saying yourself.
That prospective accusers
Okay,
might claim
cool.
against Warner. You say his name is Brian Warner, and forged a document purporting to be from an FBI agent. He also responded to the documentary, saying, quote, "Nothing that Evan Rachel Wood, Ilma Gore, or their handpicked co-conspirators have said on this matter can be trusted. This is just more of the same from a group who have spread falsehood after falsehood," end quote.
She's nodding. Yep.
Can you
That's
respond
exactly
to
what we
that?
did.
I'd like to give you the opportunity to do that.
Sure. Well, I
Body
can't,
language.
obviously speak about any of the specific allegations of the lawsuit, but I am not scared. I am sad
You should be.
because this is how it works. This is what pretty much every survivor that it tries to expose someone in a position of power goes through. And this is part of the retaliation that keeps survivors quiet. This is why people don't want to come forward, because this was expected.
No,
it wasn't.
Stop.
It wasn't expected.
No, survivors don't want to come forward because of people like you who lie and make it harder for survivors to come forward, because we have to look at everybody with a critical eye now. Because we have to wonder, is this another Me Too hoax? Because there have been so many.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's Amber Heard and then this and a few other things that have been going on and have been exposed in the media. I think it's teaching some people a lesson, but the unfortunate byproduct of that, that's very real, is that it is going to be that much harder. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Amber Heard, she wanted to be a gender activist, and she single-handedly dismantled the idea of believe all women in the public's mind. And this woman is not, this woman's doing the same thing.
It's true. It's true. And by the way, this is a good time. This is a good moment for me to grift on my book, which I
Do
have
it.
written. This is Believe Evidence, the Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo.
Oh, I love that. Whoa,
this book,
Salome.
I wrote this book in 2018 when they were going after Brett Kavanaugh with those false accusers and that
Agree.
lying woman who never even met. Now she's come out now and said she never even met him. There's a woman in one of these allegations. Not
Oh,
the
yeah. One of the other
is
crazy,
one
yeah.
of the other crazy ones now says she never even met him.
Mhm.
So I was right. This
That
book
was a
is
hit job.
full. It was a total hit job. This book is full of example after example, chapter after chapter of women who lied to put men in prison, women who lied to have them murdered, whether they wanted a vineyard or something else, they wanted to improve the view from their castle.
I'm gonna get that book. I will read. You know, I sometimes on my channel I read books or read sections of them. So I'd love to read that. If nothing else, like I love your title and your cover there. So you got me. You got me there with the
Thank
title
you.
and the cover.
Well, I think you and I probably have some disagreements over religion. But that's okay. People are entitled to that. But because in this book at the end, I have 2 chapters about how to protect your sons from women like this and how to protect your daughters from becoming women
Oh,
like
I
this.
love it. I love
And
it.
in my experience and in our culture and tradition, I'm Catholic. We believe in, taking our kids to church and embedding them with a moral compass that will help keep them from doing these sorts of things to one another. But that doesn't mean that's the only way, that doesn't
Oh,
mean that's the
I
only
have
way.
no problem with that. I think that Christianity, Catholicism, religion, I think when they're properly, or I shouldn't say properly, but channeled in a healthy way, I
No, I
think
think you're
it's
right. I think the
amazing.
word proper is correct. I think
Yeah.
I think it's true. I think and that would go for any religion, in my opinion, any one of the major religions, not a cult or anything, but like, Buddhism, they're all very similar as far as what the 10 commandments are very universal, right? Don't lie, don't steal, don't bear false witness against your neighbor. These are all good things. These are things that we build societies on so that we can get along together. And it's pretty universal throughout all the major religions. So I just think that this one is from my perspective, from a Catholic
I love
perspective,
it. Oh, I
but it
love that.
certainly could be from any major religion perspective. But yeah, I really like this book. I think it's a great gift for kids going off to college, for one, because they have to be thinking of these things. Your life can be ruined by a lying harpy. It can be. We've seen this happen. A lying Gorgon can destroy your life, and we've seen it throughout. And I start in early literature, starting from the Bible, going to Shakespeare, going to um, uh, um, Salem witch trials. I mean, I go
Yes,
through all of it.
absolutely. Well,
I
I
go.
was thinking too, Megan, I was thinking about, you mentioned Salome. I was thinking too about, like, Joseph, right? Where he was
He's in
is
here.
is he in there? Yeah, the
Joseph's
story of
right.
Joseph. He's like the first guy to
It's
ever get
chapter
Me Too'd if
2.
you're going by the biblical narrative, right?
Yep. Part 1 is hysterical harpies throughout literature and history, and chapter 2 is about Joseph's
So for the one or
that
two
woman.
people, the one or two people who might, I don't want to assume people's knowledge. I grew up in church, right? But Joseph was he was working for this wealthy guy named Potiphar, and Potiphar's wife had the hots for Joseph because
Yep.
she was like middle aged, and I guess her husband wasn't doing it for her anymore, and he was this like hot young guy, and so she basically said, I want you to sleep with me, and the Bible said that he ran away from her, and she grabbed when he ran, she grabbed his cloak off of him, and then she went to Potiphar, her husband, and she made up this story because she was pissed that he raped me, and then he sent Joseph away, right?
He sent him to prison.
Yeah, I wasn't so
Prison.
good.
My chapter starts out, poor Joseph. This guy could not get a break. He went from being a favorite son with an awesome coat to a victim of human trafficking. And
That's true. He was trafficked.
true. And then he ended up in jail. But here's the thing: is that it turned it all around for his good, because eventually he was brought out of jail, and he ruled over all of Egypt, and saved the entire country from a famine because of his position. So his position was meant to be.
Right.
And Potiphar's wife, yeah, what a harpy. What a harpy. Like Giver said, thanks for the super chat, says Megan, real survivors do not go on talk shows. SV or DV women tell no one until they have a safe place to share with a counselor or lawyer. I'm talking from experience. 50 years ago, I was in a shelter with my 2-year-old. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you survived it. And I'm glad that I know you're thriving and doing well. You're always here. And we appreciate you so much that you're here, Like Giver. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I'm glad there was a place for you to go. I'm really glad there was a place for you to go. But yeah, I'll tell you what, I think, where can I, Roxanne, you can buy it in France. Your Amazon in France carries it. It's in all the European stores on Amazon.com. So you can get it on your Amazon. You just type in Believe Evidence, Megan Fox, and you should find it. All right. So going back over to Evan Rachel Wood. I always get her name wrong. I want to call her Rachel.
Well, it's good that you call her Rachel. She hates it. She actually said that before, that she hates it when people call her Rachel. So how about it?
Well, why does she go by 3 names if she wants to be called Evan and just be Evan Wood? But if you call yourself Evan Rachel Wood, I just hear Rachel. I don't know why, but that's all I hear. But let's watch a little bit of this because there's more.
I'm very confident that I have the truth on my side, and that the truth will come out, and that this is, clearly timed before the documentary, and this is the reason. So yes, again, I'm not doing this to clear my name. I'm doing this to protect people. I'm doing this to sound the alarm that there is a dangerous person out there, and I don't want anybody getting near him, and so people can think whatever they want about me. I have to let the legal process run its course, and I'm steady as a rock. So
good for you.
And you, I mean, the 10 years later, you're still experiencing trauma, but I want to know, how are you coping with it? How are you dealing with it?
There's good days and bad days, and I don't want to sugarcoat things for survivors or act like, I'm
Wait,
super.
Did she go into collapsing on the floor in tears by any chance, like Meghan Markle? She collapsed on the floor.
Oh, I wish, it might be a few more months before we get that. I'm trying to think about the most emotional I've ever seen her. She kind of goes more into this sort of mode. She just puts on kind of a. Did you see her though when Drew Barrymore was gushing after her? It was so sickening.
No,
Drew,
I don't think I saw that one.
Drew was telling her, it's also on my TikTok, but you look it up later. But Drew was telling her, had her on her show, and Drew was telling her that she was her new hero and that she was an example to all women. And blah blah blah. And so Rachel started getting some tears that she had to wipe away because she was so touched.
This kind of thing is just so frustrating for people. Like, I work with real victims all the time, Kristen. I work with victims of the CPS and family court trauma, like real traumatized victims. And they're just not anything like this. Like nothing like it. And in fact, here's one tell. A truly traumatized victim has a very hard time telling a linear story. A very hard time. I don't know if you've ever worked with anybody with PTSD, but it's like you have to constantly bring them back to the point where, okay, that's not what we were talking about. We were on this. Tell me this. And their brain just kind of like scatters in a billion different directions, and it's really hard to get them to stick to a timeline. I will spend the majority of my time with someone who's been traumatized just trying to get a linear explanation from them. It's almost impossible, to the point where it's exhausting for them and for the interviewer. I've never seen anybody who was traumatized act like this, who can, is completely together, sounds perfectly lucid, has everything in order. Like it's very, very rare. Let me put it that way. It's very rare.
And that's why when I watched the documentary, I was already looking into the Marilyn Manson allegations by this point, but when I watched it, I'm thinking, if I would have saw this first, I would have had a clue. Because there's no tears, there's nothing, there's no emotion to it, not really. And that was kind of a clue to me. And then when you see her in this interview, you're not getting that either.
I've interviewed hundreds of survivors of domestic abuse, child sexual abuse, and what I call institutional abuse. So being abused by institutions like courts and CPS. I've interviewed hundreds of them. Out of the hundreds, I've had maybe 2 of them who could tell me a linear story and stay on track. And that's why people don't believe them, by the way. That's why they're not believed, and why a lot of people in the media won't cover their stories. They won't cover stories of domestic abuse or of divorce stories because they can't stay on a topic and they can't give you a linear story, and it's very difficult to get down to the truth. And so most reporters are just like, I don't have the time. Two, I think these people are crazy. Well, yeah, they've been driven crazy. So if you listen, it's very possible to be driven crazy by a system or a to be driven out of your mind. And it's very difficult for them to tell these stories. So I feel like I have a feel for people who are traumatized. And like, this, she's not it. It's just what I'm saying. She's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. And again, what's interesting about this case is that there is more than just our perceptions to go on as well. Like we actually, as you know, like we actually do have evidence of that she is engaged in extensive deception and recruitment of women, and that she is, as it turns out, has manipulated them or pressured them into lying. I mean, there's an extensive hoax that for some reason this woman decided she wanted to set in motion. And, you know, when it comes to her motives, we've talked to, you know, a lot of us who've defended Manson online have speculated, but I do think that with this woman, with Evan Rachel Wood, I do think that there is some kind of personality disorder here, and I don't want to harp on it too much or whatever, but like it is, I think it's kind of similar to what we saw with Amber Heard, even though I think Evan Rachel Wood is much more in control of herself. But yes, go ahead.
I think the people who have these personality disorders, I think that they talk themselves into believing that their lies are real, that what they're saying is that's how they are able to tell their story, is that they tell themselves that it happened. Just like we're listening to Ashley say how she was pressured to sit in her truth and to that just because she doesn't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right. I love that. That's got to be like the best logical system that I've heard of, right? Well, just anything could be true if you could have misremembered it. You could have repressed it. It's like, oh, really? Well, I can claim anything then.
All right. So I wanted to get to, I saw your video, Kristen, that you did, I don't know, a couple days ago. And and you were getting real emotional, like it's finally happening. Happening. People are finally seeing it, and you were like begging the people covering Johnny Depp to like step up and start covering Marilyn Manson. And I just wanted to say how sorry I am, because I meant to do it months ago, and I haven't, and I never got to it. It was just like, in fact, I even told my editor, I'm like, I want to do a deep dive on this Marilyn Manson thing. I want to do like a series of articles on it. She was like, hey, that sounds great. And then I never did. And I'm watching your videos and enjoying your content, and like not even realizing that you were out there kind of on your own, feeling really exposed, getting a lot of crap for it. And if I had known that, I would have been out there way before now to say, oh yeah, she's right. Kristen's right. These women are total liars. Sorry.
Well, I really appreciate that. And the thing is, like, everybody's got different stories that they're interested in, and this story has been kind of low key until now. So I don't blame anybody for not jumping on. And you know, there's tons of stories that I'd like to get into, and I don't have time for. But I will say this though, I am really glad that. I'm really glad that people are paying attention now more, because I do think that there is an excellent like object lesson in this, even apart from Marilyn Manson or his persona, or whether you like his music or his image or whatever. But like the fact that you could have a hoax on this scale that could be perpetuated by multiple women, and you could get, you know, a major documentary, and you could get lawsuits going, and basically like you can target a man or a person, and you can just destroy them, you know, in so many different ways. And I do think it's good to know that maybe going forward, we will stop canceling people without evidence.
Yes. Yes. So here's something I want you guys to get into. Can you and Lisa talk about the FBI letter? Because I'm not sure that my audience knows about this. And this to me was one of the biggest pieces of evidence that this thing was a fraud, not to mention watching them on the documentary, like pretending to chase down the FBI or whatever the hell they were doing. It was so obvious that the FBI was like, we don't have anything to do with this. Like, what are you talking about? Can you explain how the FBI letter happened and what it is? Because for people who have not been paying close attention, this might be something they missed.
Yeah, Lisa, you go for it.
Sure. So Let me add a timeline because it could bounce around a bit. So we know about the FBI letter because in December 2021, several months, nearly a year after Evan Rachel Wood and these women come forward, there's an article in the Daily Mail detailing these other allegations of Manson threatened to, quote, fuck her son back in 2014. And all this stuff is provided in a declaration.
Evan claims.
Yeah, Evan claims. And there's this FBI letter in there, but you don't get to see the FBI letter. You just read the verbiage from the declaration. So in the media and to the world, that's how we learn of this. And then, of course, 3 months later, we now see this letter attached to Marilyn Manson's lawsuit that was filed last year on March 2nd. And it details in Manson's lawsuit that Evan and Ilma apparently impersonated an FBI agent, a real-life FBI agent. So the signature on the FBI letter has the actual real FBI letter or FBI agent's name, but we later learn that the signature is also fraudulent from another FBI agent, and this document has Ilma Gore's name on it, from the FBI. So there's a lot of moving pieces, so I don't want to confuse anyone.
But basically,
you froze.
While she's unfreezing, I just say, like, so yeah, so I mean I think that's a great explanation. So basically, people should understand that Evan Rachel Wood and her co-conspirator girlfriend at the time, they impersonated an actual FBI agent and tried to make it look like the FBI. They had this letter, this fake letter stating that the FBI was investigating Manson, and also that Evan Rachel Wood was an important witness and she might be in some danger because she was wanting to abscond with her son, the kid that she had with Jamie Bell. She was wanting to take that kid away from Jamie Bell and out of California and run to Tennessee because they had this custody thing going. And so she used that as an excuse. So you got this woman who, like, basically, Lisa, she's just like lying on multiple fronts, right?
Right. So actually, and it's funny, we learn now from Tennessee custody filings that it was Jamie Bell, Evan Rachel Wood's ex-partner, that introduces the letter, the FBI letter, into the custody dispute because, well, she sent it to him on the Signal app, but first it had Ilma Gore's name on it, and he wasn't able to get a screenshot of it to have as proof. And so how Evan Rachel Wood submits this in her own declaration is, I think 2 or 3 months later, she puts it in a declaration saying she has this letter from whoever, and she doesn't explain how she got it.
From the FBI,
criminal investigators. And she believed it to be true when she filed this declaration, right? So March 2021. But then a month later, or even not even a month later, like maybe 1-2 months, sometime in that, in a transcript from Tennessee, it sounds like now there's this whole dispute in terms of California versus Tennessee because she absconded with the kid to Tennessee. And it appears in California that they were questioning the legitimacy of this FBI letter in California. And now she provides a brand new LADA letter saying that she's a potential victim or something to the effect. And they don't really talk about the FBI letter anymore. In fact, they consider it hearsay. But now in Marilyn Manson's lawsuit, when she provided a declaration in response, she's saying, well, I believed it to be true. But she doesn't explain how she got it, where she got it from.
So basically she's saying that this forged FBI letter, it just, I don't know who made it. It just appeared one day and it seemed reasonable to me. And so I submitted it in this with this custody thing. I gave it to my ex to try to tell him this, and I submitted it here and all of this. So that's, I mean, basically, I guess she's saying that somebody wrote this and gave this to me. It just turns out that it happens to be conveniently like toward the purposes of what she was trying to achieve in her custody dispute and with the Marilyn Manson thing. And also, this story that Manson was being investigated by the FBI, whether she actually gave a fake letter to the other women or not, she used this idea to recruit these women to come on board and lie about Manson. She told them that he was being investigated by the LADA and by the FBI, and that he was a bad man. And so then it was easier to recruit these women because they thought, well, even if he didn't abuse me, like, he's a bad guy, and she says that he abused her, and the FBI is looking into him, the LADA is looking into him, the police, right? So I mean, if I get on board this train, I'll get some publicity, but also I'll be doing something for justice, right? So it's just such a crazy hoax, so coordinated, so hyper coordinated, And that FBI letter, that is just the thing that really just makes everyone's mouth drop. Like she impersonated a real agent. Hi, Megan.
Hey, so there's a windstorm happening here, and it knocked out.
Oh, it's okay. We could just run the show.
My power. Yeah, you can. You just keep going. I'm trying to get my router back up. So right now I'm on.
You're fine. What were you going to say, Lisa? I'm sorry.
Oh, so I wanted to add, in the context of this FBI letter, in Marilyn Manson's lawsuit, he provides screenshots of a signal conversation dated for November 2020, so before this FBI letter. And it's a conversation between Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore. The thing is, it's a screenshot from a broken iPad. So we know the draft of this other letter from LA is Evan's verbiage of that letter, and Ilma's providing feedback of it.
Yep. Yeah,
and she has has not explained it in any of her declarations since then.
Yeah, it's very, very clear that Evan wrote this or was involved with Ilma in the writing of it, and like you said, that has been corroborated by independent evidence that Manson came up with. Megan, are you back now? Are you good?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for my.
It seems good now.
I'm on my phone. I'm currently on my phone on my data stream, so it's probably going to go in and out. So I'm just.
We'll let you know. So far, it's good. We'll let you know if there's a problem. But
okay.
You know, one thing that your audience might be curious about too is Evan Rachel. A lot of people don't know about Evan Rachel Wood's co-conspirator, Ilma Gore. This is a woman who has been as I understand it, a serial hoaxer. She's run different scams of different kinds. And she was in an article in a, I think, LA Magazine or something, where she claimed that she had been kidnapped by a Trump supporter and taken on a kind of a crazy joyride around like LA or something, because she did an anti-Trump painting. And you might have seen this. It's Trump with a micro penis. And so this got this woman, Ilma Gore, a little bit of fame, but she came up with this bogus story about being abducted by a Trump supporter, which absolutely did not happen. She's made up a lot of other things. She claimed that she was getting tattoos, going to get tattoos all over her body of people's names if they donated to her charity. And that turned out to be a grift. So Evan Rachel Wood got hooked up with this woman. It was kind of a perfect storm. And when this happened, it seems like the two just fed off of each other and really got ahead of their shoelaces, so to speak, and that they got in too deep and they constructed this huge hoax. And thank God it seems to like it's starting to fall in on them. But I mean, this is bigger than anything that Amber Heard or even Eliza Blue dreamed of, you know.
Unbelievable. I personally, could we all agree, though, that Marilyn Manson, Brian Warner, has very bad taste in women? I feel like we need,
with the exception of a few.
We need to, right? Because what's the one girl that he dated seems really sweet.
Dita, that he was married to.
Dita Von Teese.
And I think, and Rose, and let's not forget, for your audience who may not know, Rose McGowan, you know, Miss Me Too, she dated him. She was with him for several years. They were engaged. She has said that he never abused her. Dita said he never abused her. And then his current wife, Lindsay Usick, has stood by him, and she seems to be a woman of value as well. But yeah, you take those three away and maybe a few others, a couple that I've interviewed on my channel maybe, but take, you know, they're cool. But there's a lot of craziness in that mix. And that's one of the things that Manson himself has admitted to. He said he's flypaper for damaged women. And I think that is part of what has contributed to all of this. You got a lot of crazy women in the mix.
I think men in general need help and like some kind of I think they need some kind of like weekend getaway to learn about how to spot the crazy women from the crazy hot matrix. Like watch the crazy hot matrix multiple times, because it's like they're falling for the super hot ones that are always crazier though. So like the hotter they get, the crazier they are. And that's just true. It's just true. It's absolutely the reason why that video became so popular and was so funny and got millions of views is because there's truth in it, right? And it's not like a diagnosable thing. There's actual scientific proof behind higher estrogen levels, which lead to more feminine traits and, you know, more beauty. That higher estrogen levels leads to some of this instability. So there's been actual studies about this, which made that video so funny. But I do think these guys need like a intensive training sometimes to
Megan,
like
that
stay.
sounds like a great idea for a business. Let's start it. That's what we need to be doing. Forget this true crime stuff or this like Me Too stuff. We need to start a business helping men to identify that. But you know what the problem is? It wouldn't work because they'd still go after him. They'd still date him or whatever. So
I was just thinking this could be a PowerPoint.
They always think that they can fix them. I can fix her. I can fix her. That's always what they say to me.
Matthew Cooper, it's a funny comment. I'm sorry. I saw Matthew Cooper's comment at the bottom. He said, yeah, good luck having it not be called some chauvinistic, misogynist patriarchy training camp.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting, Megan, you were talking about how there's some scientific evidence that higher estrogen levels can lead to more emotional instability. The thing is that when you say that, to a lot of people outside, it might seem really sexist, but we have no problem in society saying that higher testosterone causes violence.
Right.
But men have their own hormonal issues or whatever.
Absolutely. And I think we should be open to the fact that these are just some facts of life that we should all be aware of. We actually had my cousin who was killed in Afghanistan. He was such a hilarious guy. And his wife was my cousin, Audrey, and she's just she's so beautiful. My cousins are just gorgeous, gorgeous women. And the men who marry into this family, we have all women on my side of the family. It's all girls. We don't have any grandsons. We have 13 granddaughters. I'm one of 13 granddaughters, no grandsons. And so the men who marry into this family are very brave. They're very, very brave because they come into this total matriarchy, right? So they were sitting around one night, all the men were sitting around one night talking about their challenges of being married to these women. And they're all like, is your wife sick all the time? They're like, oh yeah, she's always sick. She's always got something going on. She's always in bed. She's always there. He goes, yeah, but sure are beautiful.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I sometimes call my friends over and I'm like, hey guys, check out my wife. And she's in her room. She's like,
no, that sounds like assault now. You better watch it. What's he doing? No.
Puking in a bucket. But I'm like, honey, can you lift your face up so my friends can see how pretty you are? Like, it's like these are the trials.
I love that.
The trials of being with beautiful women. They're just sick all the time, and they have problems.
Funny. Well, and we're laughing, but I mean, we certainly know that this is not a hard fast rule or anything. We're being hyperbolic or we're joking around, but at the same time, though, it's obvious that yes, men are hormonally, or straight men or whatever, but they're hormonally and psychologically oriented in general to be vulnerable to women, just like women, in our own ways are vulnerable to men, right? There's that kind of healthy dependency there between the sexes. And so when that though is manipulated, when that emotional power that women have and that physical beauty and all the stuff that we've got going on, right? Like when that is aimed and directed at something, it's powerful. And right now, and what's happened with Amber Heard and Evan Rachel Wood and some of these others is that it's been aimed and directed at the media and at the public. And for a while, people were just kind of like, yeah. But hopefully we're getting smarter about it.
I hope so. I mean, that's why I wrote my book, was because I wanted people to understand that we can't just believe women. That's stupid. All women can lie, just like men can lie. Men can also tell lies. We need to believe the evidence. That's the only thing we have. And if there isn't any evidence that these things happened, then we can't destroy a guy and run him out on a rail.
Right.
It's not okay.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, that in the past, there was this view that if you had, where there's smoke, there's fire. And if you had a large number of women coming forward with allegations like you did in the Manson case, that means he had to have done something. And just two things really quick that I think it's important to point out. Number one, in cases like this, you have a lot of people piling on who don't have as serious of the allegations. So like, yes, there were some women alleging horrible things, but then others were just saying, oh, he told a bad joke or he was weird or whatever, right? And then the other thing to point out is that in these media cases, people are so incentivized to come forward. I'm surprised there aren't more people coming forward all the time in this crazy world we live in. People are incentivized to come forward when they think they'll get media attention. And so, no, it doesn't faze me that Manson has many women accusing him of various things, because I've looked into each case, and when you look into each one, it falls apart. And now finally, thank God, we're getting some validation of that from this Ashley's declaration.
So what's happening with the lawsuit now? So get me up to date on how many lawsuits there have been and how many of them are now either settled or dismissed, or because there's a lot, right?
Yeah, Lisa is more up on the legal stuff than I am. Do you know, Lisa, where we're at? Oh, I think you're turned down, Lisa. If you're there, she might not be there. She might have stepped away. It sounds like she's
Your
whistling
mute
for a
button is
dog.
on. That's my guinea pigs. Those are my
Oh,
guinea
I was like,
pigs.
what's that whistling? Okay. Well, Lisa,
Every time
yeah,
I walk by them, they whistle at me.
maybe she'll be back on in a second. Okay, well, I'll try to answer the question. So, I mean, it's not that hard, but Lisa is more up on the legal stuff than I am. But okay, so he was sued originally. He was sued by Esme Bianco, the Game of Thrones actress. He was sued by a former personal assistant, a disgruntled employee, Ashley Walters, who turned on him. He was sued by Ashley Morgan Smithline, the woman who just came out in a declaration for him. And then he was sued by, been sued by a woman named Chloe Black. And then just recently, I guess a fifth lawsuit, he was sued by a woman named Bianca Elaine. So there have been 5 lawsuits total against him. Already, the Ashley lawsuit, obviously that's gone. The Esme Bianco lawsuit was settled for a tiny amount of money. So I believe, and the Ashley Walters thing, it had been dismissed, but I think that it's now back on. So I think he's got still 3 lawsuits pending against him. And then, of course, he has sued Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore. And that's the really big one that's going to be, I think, probably like Depp versus Heard when it finally gets here. Whether to be televised or not, I don't know. But I think that's going to be a big one. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Lisa, hey, you're back. Did you want to add to anything?
I just caught the last end with the lawsuits, but that's
she
right.
was just asking where we were. Yeah, with
because there's Ashley Walters is still an appeal, even though it looked like it was going to be dismissed. Jane Doe in California, trial is in October, if it's not dismissed prior to that. And then that new Bianca Elaine / Bianca Kine lawsuit, who was the quote unquote underage minor allegations, which is a little nuts. So that's as far as I know.
Tell me about that one, the minor allegations. What is this one now? I don't think I've heard about this.
Okay, so maybe I'll start and then maybe Kristen could talk about some of the discrepancies because she did a whole series on this. So back in February 1st, 2021, when all these women came forward with Evan Rachel Wood, she is one of these women that comes forward. She comes forward in The Sun. She does an interview, in a tabloid. She does an interview in a podcast detailing her allegations. But there's a problem, is her allegations never included that she was a minor. Her allegations were always 19 and up, were her assault stories. In fact, there's such a huge difference. It didn't match her Jane Doe lawsuit. So when this lawsuit was filed in the state of New York, it was filed under the new New York Adult Survivors Act, which is like a year window for civil lawsuits against accusations over the age of 18. So this lawsuit isn't just targeting Marilyn Manson, it's targeting the record companies and 1 to 20 like unknown people. So half the lawsuit is claiming, through song, lyrics, little squiggles, that these record companies knew that he was a pedo and they promoted him either way. But she claims now in her lawsuit that she was a minor, but then also it happened later at 19, and that some Satan's bake sale they used to do as kind of a gag newsletter type thing back in the day, that it was really for Manson to get basically child pornography type things. It's really nonsensical. And all you have to do is compare now her public words, because now her name is on the lawsuit. And she blames Colonel Kurtz, Marilyn Manson uncanceled and all, for exposing it, even though everyone knew her name. Because the problem was her lawsuit might have changed in significant ways from her original story, but it was similar enough we all know who it was.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this, like Lisa was saying, there are huge discrepancies between the podcast interview that this woman did in 2021 when she originally came forward and did a Sun interview and stuff. She talked for an hour and a half about her allegations and her experiences with Manson and stuff. And the only thing that she alleged back then that happened when she was underage, she said she was 16. She went to a Manson concert. She came on to him backstage. She admitted that she came on to him and was touching him and saying his hair smelled good. And she claims that he kissed her for 2 seconds. That was her original story of assault that she shared in 2021, as dumb as that sounds. Well, what's happened now, she's gotten hooked up with a lawyer who is basically a kind of a, I would say, an ambulance chaser, except he's been chasing, well, like the Catholic Church, for instance. He had a major lawsuit against the Catholic Church. He helped to bankrupt the Boy Scouts and so on. Well, the point is, she got hooked up with this guy, and he's like, no, we can go after Interscope Records. We can go after the record labels that supported him. We can make a lot of money. So he's picked up the lawsuit. He's picked up this story, filed a lawsuit, and suddenly in her lawsuit, she's claiming that Manson actually sexually assaulted her in all these different ways when she was 16. So her story has completely changed, and there are all of these crazy things, like Lisa said in the lawsuit, that just fall apart when you examine them. But it got the headlines, now then you were seeing Marilyn Manson, minor.
And it's important to add here.
Yeah.
His attorney put out a statement. He has no idea who this person is.
Oh, God. Here's the thing about all of this is that I do believe that what is done in the dark will be brought to the light. I think that your lies will find you out. Just like, this Ashley Smithline is now coming clean, because your conscience will not allow you to do this forever. And I do believe that you won't get away with this. And I think that this is really starting to crumble. And I got to give you guys all the credit for staying on this story, even when it seemed like nobody was really paying attention to it, or for what. All right, let's talk about this. Brian Warner's public image is absolutely crap. Like it might have been like in the 90s, like some people thought that was cool or whatever. And I'm sure it's all his art and whatever. But if you want to be a guy who people believe is not a sadist, you should probably not be on stage engaging in sadism, right? And he opened himself up to this. He opened himself up to this type of attack. So then when women come out and say, oh, he's an abusive psychopath, and that's the way he behaves on stage, people are more willing to believe it. And so it's almost like, and I don't want to blame him for it, but he kind of contributed to this idea.
No, it's true.
That and so
right.
For you to come out and be like, I don't think these things are true, it took a lot of guts, because most people are looking at him like, we don't care what happens to Marilyn Manson. Maybe he shouldn't have been such a provocative, over the top, sticking it in everybody's faces all the time, because you kind of get what you give. I think that's how people see it. Like, well, nobody's that surprised.
No, I mean, I totally understand that. And really, the reason why I ended up getting into this story is because I had started a YouTube channel to cover the Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff, and Marilyn Manson is really good friends, best friends or whatever with Johnny Depp. And so when this happened, I had a feeling pretty early on, like that first week after looking at the allegations and everything surrounding it, that it was bullshit. And so I was like, well, this is interesting. I have a hunch here that he's innocent, and he's Johnny Depp's good friend. This kind of seems like a natural thing to sort of slide into, even though there were people at the time telling me to stay away from it. So that's how I got into it. And then what happened was, because I was at the time one of the only ones early on covering this, then I got some interviews early on with some people like Marilyn Manson's former assistant, someone who's known him for decades. I got interviews with former, girlfriends and things like that. And I got an interview with, I'm talking to her again actually this week, with one of the women that Evan Rachel Wood and Il McGraw tried to recruit unsuccessfully to join their campaign. Anyway, my point is, I got in the door then with a lot of stuff, and so I stuck with it because I thought it was an important story. But I do understand what you're saying, and I just want to say to people in the audience who might say, well, okay, it sucks that this happened to him, or it's not right, but he was asking for it basically with this persona and everything. I would just say this, that when Marilyn Manson created this persona and when he became really famous, there was a lot going on in our society and our culture at the time contextually that nowadays it might not make as much sense to people. It was sort of an act of his act was a kind of a rebellion, and also he came along at a time when having that parental advisory sticker on your CDs was a great way to get people to buy it. And so there was this real edginess in music at the time that we don't have now, whether we're thinking about like gangster rap or Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, or all that other stuff. So there was a context for what he was doing, and I just have to tell people that who I have learned he is, and from people who really know him. And yes, from interacting with his wife a lot over the last couple of years, he is a nice guy. He is good to women. I mean, he may have cheated on them in the past, but he is gentle with women, and he is, despite his image, he does not deserve all the stuff that's come down on him. So whether you like his image or not, or whether you like what his music or whatever, his life has gotten completely shredded up over the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Completely shredded up. I don't think he deserves it.
Is your mind kind of blown that this happened to not only Johnny Depp, but one of his best friends? My mind, I can't wrap it around it. Like, did these women know one another? Was this a part of a bigger plan?
I actually don't think so. And the thing is, it's funny, if you go to past interviews, I believe it was Marilyn Manson and maybe even Johnny Depp himself that have said they've had such similar things that happened to the both of them in their own lives that it's that similar. So when Johnny Depp had his allegations and then Marilyn Manson was kind of like, well, I'm not surprised, but at first my thinking was that he's always said that they have similar things happen to them at similar times. It was strange.
It is strange.
Well, sorry, I wanted to add one thing. I don't have any, you're asking if there was collusion basically between Amber Heard and Evan Rachel Wood, or if it was part of a larger thing. I don't have any evidence that Amber Heard was in there, telling Rachel what to do, or in there like planning everything. And I certainly don't think that she's involved in any way now. But I had a source, a very reputable source. I can't say who it is, but it's someone that's a legit person in these circles and stuff, and who spent a lot of time with some of these people. And she told me that after Amber Heard's divorce from Johnny, that she and Evan Rachel Wood, actually, there was a period of time right after the divorce where they did spend a lot of time together, and they were hanging out together a lot, along with that woman from the L Word, that I can't remember her name now, but that Evan Rachel Wood dated for a little while. But they were hanging out together a lot. And this woman told me that they were inquiring with friends of Manson's as to Manson's romantic status, like who had he been dating, what was going on with his romantic life or whatever, and that these friends of Amber's seemed really insistent to discover what was going on in Manson's life. Now, I know that's not like hard or fast proof or whatever, but I'm just saying that I have heard from some sources that I trust that there was they were hanging out, and there could have been some influence, right? Like what I think could have happened is Amber, she divorces Johnny, and she starts sort of planning and kicking up this stuff with him. And if she's hanging out with Amber Heard, with Evan Rachel Wood at the time, maybe she said, hey, Manson, I know he's a bad guy. Like, I could never stand him. And I know that he was probably abusing you. You should talk about it. You should do what I'm doing. And maybe there was some involvement there. But regardless, they do seem to be running the same according to the same script, except Evan seems to be Amber Heard 2.0, in that she decided to go for the big HBO documentary, and she went before Congress, and she had an actual bill passed. Like, she got really far on her BS this time.
Yeah, because think about it. If you think about it, why would someone go that far, right? Why would someone? I mean, that's what most survivors think is, well, she created a nonprofit, she had a bill, then she had this documentary, and then there's like nothing happening after that. The nonprofit is gone. Is she doing activism? I haven't seen anything. It just seems like that period of time.
I have an answer for that. And it's because we're dealing with actresses who live and die by the number of magazines that they appear on the cover of. This is about raising profiles in Hollywood and nothing else. That's what it was about for Amber Heard. That's what it's about for Evan Rachel Wood. And for all of the women that she gathered to her, she promised them, I guarantee you, she promised them, this will get your name in the paper. You're going to go on a publicity tour. You can write a book. You can raise raise your profile. As soon as you can add UN ambassador to your, they all want to be Angelina Jolie, by the way. And by the way, they will never be Angelina Jolie. Like there's a difference between, and I don't know her personally, but
I know what you mean.
By watching her, it seems like she cared about the things that she was going after, no one else was really doing that before. Well, Shirley Temple became an actual ambassador for the United States. So it's not unheard of. Ronald Reagan, of course, became the president of the United States. So actors do sometimes do these things, but it is a good way to get your name elevated and to elevate your profile and become even more famous and taken seriously. I think one of the things that women in Hollywood struggle with is being taken seriously because they don't know what to do. On one hand, they sell their bodies, they sell their sex appeal. That's how they get famous, right? That's how they become known, and they're known for their beauty. And whether that's right or wrong, it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then they struggle with, how do I maintain some kind of relevance as I age and it's not going so well, I'm not getting the parts that I want to get? Well, a great way to do that is to kind of shift into that public service, being a spokesperson for something and getting onto a cause. And what better way to do it than South Park just clearly showed us so great? Become a victim.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and the other thing too, I want to say real quickly is that that's right. And in Evan Rachel Wood's case, she also just underwent a dramatic change in I would say personality or character or identity, a dramatic change in identity, because when she was dating Manson, she was all into this Lolita thing, sort of the Lolita mystique, and she was into putting out a very, very sexy image, and it was very feminine. And I've interviewed people who were around her at the time, and how much she loved to curl her hair and all these things. Manson wasn't making her do these things. Well, what happened is and this continued for a long time. Well, what happened was in somewhere around 2000, mid 2000s or whatever, when she starts changing her tune and saying that someone might have abused her and going before Congress and all that, she cuts her hair really short into what I would describe as a very butch look. She starts giving speeches about her bisexuality, her bisexual identity. She starts dating women more openly. And I think what we're seeing too with all this stuff is that she got into another phase of her life, and looking back at the earlier phase, she didn't like that earlier phase because it doesn't fit who she is or the image or whatever now. And so I think that with this Manson stuff, there's also been an attempt to rewrite her history. So it is somehow like not her fault or not her, or she was just being manipulated into doing and liking all the stuff that she did back then. I don't know. Lisa, that's my thought.
Yeah, I agree.
It just sounds like regret.
Yeah.
And like regret. This is the whole problem with feminists who want to say, oh, well, they want to be victims at a certain point of their life without taking any responsibility for their choices that led to those, that led to what they did. And they don't like the way they're being seen. By the way, those of you asking, why is my camera moving around so much? It's because I'm on my phone. And I still can't get
okay. I'm having a great time. So I'm just sorry. I know technical difficulties are really stressful, no matter how much you prepare.
It's weird because my internet's doing something I've never seen before. It came back up, and I can only access Google, and I can access YouTube, but I can't get to StreamYard or Twitter or like other things. So it looks like my router might be throwing up a firewall against certain
stuff
things.
Happens. Well, I mean, we've all been there and had technical difficulties. I was just going to respond to Blurple. It's almost like a tongue twister. Blurple Dragon. Was she before or after Dita Von Teese? So here's, for people who don't know the scuttlebutt, this is actually a woman that Marilyn Manson left Dita Von Teese. Well, okay, Dita Von Teese left him actually, but he was cheating on Dita Von Teese with Evan Rachel Wood. And so he was married to Dita Von Teese, the burlesque lady. And then they started having some marital problems, and Evan Rachel Wood at that point, depending on who you talk to, either Manson picked her up or she kind of swooped in and got Manson. You can imagine who I believe, but anyway, but she kind of swooped in there and they started an affair, and Manson, regrettably, he cheated on his wife, and apparently he's apologized to her for that. Dita Von Teese even said that in an interview years later, that Manson had apologized and said he screwed up, and she'd accepted his apology. But yeah, so he cheated on Dita Von Teese with Evan Rachel Wood. Dita found out. She left him on Christmas Day. Strong woman, not going to put up with that. And she also didn't like his drug abuse either. He's admitted he had drug problems. So she leaves him. And then he and Evan Rachel Wood get together, and they eventually get engaged, and they have a stormy relationship, and they break up at one point and get back together, and they're engaged. And then eventually the relationship does fizzle out or end. And we're still not really sure of how or why that happened. But point is, yeah, so Dita Von Teese was apparently a great woman, and they, and his wife and everything, and unfortunately things just didn't work out, and Evan Rachel Wood was a part of that.
I bet he really regrets that. This is one of those things that I'm always giving advice to people about, like, listen, stay with the one you're with. If at all possible, work it out. Because these situations that start to happen with, jilted lovers and a lot of this is how you invite chaos into your life. And I bet he regrets that. I bet he regrets it every damn day that he fell for that woman instead of staying with his wife. And that's just really sad. And I'm sorry for him.
Yeah. And I think he would agree with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I bet he would. Tell me about, I didn't know you started your YouTube channel for Johnny Depp. I had no clue. I thought you had been doing these videos for, ever. I mean, I will admit that's when I started watching your Depp stuff, but I thought you had your channel for a long time. So I'm interested to know what made you start one, because I think you're a real natural, and I love the way you approach topics. And I think you do a really good job and a thorough job. I know a lot of people, I think what you do is very good journalism when you're reaching out to people and talking to, I think one time you had a neighbor that lived in the building where Johnny and Amber lived.
Oh, that wasn't me, but I know what you're talking about. That was a great interview. I can't remember who that was.
Was it Amy? Was it Amy?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. It was a good interview.
I thought it was you. I thought you.
No worries. But I was doing a lot of Depp versus Heard coverage. Yeah.
But you're always reaching out to people and like finding sources and stuff, which is interesting because a lot of people on YouTube don't really do that. That's more along the lines of what I do. I will reach out to people, who know the subject, and this is something kind of rare that not even our mainstream journalists do anymore. You know what? You're right. It was Popcorn Planet. Yep. He had the neighbor on. Sorry about that. I got that.
He's great too, though. I mean, you mentioned him, like he's actually one of the few who has been on this story. I wouldn't say from the beginning or whatever, but I mean, he has been supportive, and especially over the last several months, he has been giving it coverage. And he was one that Lisa and I could go to over the past months if there was some big news or something, and at least get a listen from him and a consideration. And then he did in the past several months. He started doing some shows with us, so I do appreciate him. But I know what you're saying. Like, I mean, I have had a number of sources in the Manson case on my show, and Lisa, one of the main things that Lisa does, yes, she goes on YouTube and stuff and has a podcast, but she's really especially valuable, I think, for the Manson community, in that she every day she's talking to sources and potential sources and really networking with people. And Megan, I'm sure you found this. That is sort of how people come to us nowadays, is that there are a lot of people who actually have a story to be told, but they can't get the real, I shouldn't say the real, but they can't get the mainstream media to cover it. And so I've had
lazy.
Yeah, well, they are, and they have their own narrative. Like, I was shocked that Rolling Stone even reported that Manson's accuser had flipped. Of course, I see today they're trying as hard as they can to help Evan Rachel Wood dig her way out of that, posting follow-up stories. But no, the mainstream media has totally dropped the ball, and they did on the Johnny Depp thing, and they never really recovered. I mean, the mainstream media is still hasn't really come to terms with the Depp trial, which is fascinating. But they haven't.
My absolute favorite reporting that I did on the Depp trial, because I'm sorry, but I should write a book about this. If I ever get around to writing, to like sitting down and writing another book after I put together my Missouri corruption one, I will write about the way the media portrayed the Johnny Depp trial in complete opposite to reality on the ground. My favorite reporting that I did, let me see if I can pull it up. I'm back, by the way. My internet came back up. Thank God. Hallelujah. I'm back in the studio and off the phone. That was horrible. My favorite one was, let's see, I wrote about, it was about Taylor Lorenz and the awful reporting that the LA Times did with another reporter, where you could tell they weren't even in the courtroom when they were reporting this. I'm trying to find it. Let's see. It was New York Times, not New York Times. It was LA Times. There was a reporter at the LA Times who, let me see if I can go back and find it. He reported that Jason Momoa testified at the trial at Johnny Depp's trial. You know what he was reporting, of course, was the meme video that someone made of Jason Momoa being in. And this guy he's a real news person. This is a person that's
Was that the Daily
mainstream.
Beast article? I'm trying to remember what outlet that
it was the actual LA Times. It
was the LA Times.
Freaking LA Times. And I'm looking for it because I got to go back to my Johnny Depp coverage. It was so stinking funny, but I had two shocking examples of how the media is clearly not even paying attention. Like they're not even in the courtroom. And they don't like what we are doing by sitting and covering the trials. It's like I've streamed it live every day. I was, after like the first week, maybe I missed a week or two. I was like, I got to get in on this. This is too good. This trial is insane. And so I started streaming it. And the reason why why Taylor Lorenz and all these, and Kat Tenbarge at NBC, the reason why they come after YouTubers who are covering these trials is because they don't want to do it themselves. They're too lazy. And I proved it by showing this LA Times article where this guy literally reported a meme video as real news. And he got completely destroyed by all of us going, what are you doing? Like this never happened. And you reported it. He had to like retract it and say, oh, an earlier version of this, this did not happen.
Wasn't it like and the article, right? The gist of the article was that the YouTube media have not gotten it right, that we're the ones getting it wrong. That was what too was just like was like the cherry on top, is that the whole point of the article was like, hey, all of you YouTubers, you need to get your shit together like we in the real media have our shit together.
Exactly.
And then he's using fake footage to prove it.
Look at this. So this was the article that I wrote back then. This was written on June 4th of 2022. I will drop the link. Clickety click on it for me, folks. You know, I get paid by the click. And y'all, if your fingers are not broken, you can do that for me. Clickety click. All right. Fake news corrections prove that big media reporters didn't even watch the Johnny Depp trial. So this guy, Richard Winton, he's the guy at the LA Times who did what he did. And of course, we all know Taylor Lorenz, she's a cry bully at the Washington Post. Well, check this out. I said, I will laugh about this for the rest of my life. Great work, LA Times. Even witnesses seem to be influenced by the media coverage. At one point, actor Jason Momoa, star of Aquaman, testified via live video in support of his co-star Heard. Without prompting, he said, "Hi, Camille," to Depp's high-profile litigator, Camille Vasquez, a rising star in Orange County legal circles who quickly became the star of the trial as much as... This is what he thought was real. Can we just watch this for a second?
I didn't know we were starting yet.
You can tell it's
Almost got it.
So ridiculous.
Perfect spot.
Okay, could you please state your full name?
Yeah, I am Jason Momoa.
Mr. Momoa, do you know Amber?
Are you serious? This
Yeah.
is what they thought was real?
And that's not even the lawyer's voice. Like if you've been
It's
watching
so
the trial,
obvious.
it's so
Yeah.
obvious. He reported this in the LA Times.
Don't talk to her. So how do you know Amber?
Don't talk to her.
So you work together as
Oh my
actors, right?
No, as janitors.
Oh my
Momoa,
god!
this is serious.
I haven't seen this.
He's not a janitor. He's actually Aquaman. Did you say you felt safe around Amber on the set?
Sure, I guess.
So there was not even one incident.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Why? What happened?
Well, Amber and I were in the pool recording a scene. It was just the two of us. And she pointed at the water and said, "Look at that beautiful brown fish."
So what seems to be the issue? I'm not following.
Any wildlife in the water would be computerized, so that was brown fish.
I don't understand. What was it?
Well, it was, shall I say, Amber's turn.
Oh my God.
Mr. Momoa, how do you even know what that was? Did you even take a picture of Amber's turd?
No, I didn't.
So do you have any evidence?
Well, I made a replica. Yeah.
I cannot believe that anyone watched this and thought that was real.
That look like a fish?
Oh my God. This is what this is how lazy they are. They're so lazy.
That is crazy.
That they didn't even bother to do that. I mean, my God. They didn't even bother to figure out if this was real or not. Like, it's clearly not real. It's stamped with the guy's YouTube channel. It's clearly bad lip reading. And yet the LA Times, I just can't even believe
I mean, that's how
it.
bad things have gotten, right? I mean, Lisa, Lisa's been on this ride for a while too. And I don't think, Lisa, are you ever surprised by the shitty coverage anymore of any of this stuff?
Oh no. When I was watching the trial, I was watching everything on social media too, and I'm like, are these people not like watching this? I don't understand. And it's the Johnny Depp trial and how that all played out is really what got me interested in the Marilyn Manson stuff, because they kept bringing up Marilyn Manson's name. He wasn't even part of the trial, but the fact that you could just say his name and people could figure out there was an issue there. It just seems,
Imagine how long we've been lied to, though, by the mainstream press without having independent press watching these trials. For instance, let's just talk about the trial coverage in general. When you have just members of the media going in and then coming out and reporting, and I'll tell you why they do that like this. A member of the mainstream press they're not sending a reporter into that courtroom for 8 hours a day. Oh no. They go in, they stay for a couple hours.
Really?
They write their article right there on the bench. They'll sit in there with their laptops. They will write their little article and then they pick up and leave. They do not stay there the whole day. So the narrative that you're getting is just the one the news media wants to tell. They're not doing what we did, which was sit there, watch every minute and talk to experts, talk to lawyers, decide what we thought, try and figure out what the jury's thinking, and like present just the evidence that the jury is seeing, right? So we got the evidence that the jury is seeing, and 100% of it, plus we got the evidence that we get to see that the jury doesn't get to see. We get to see the pretrial hearings. We get to see what evidence was left out, but it is so much different than letting a reporterette walk into a courtroom for 2 hours, write down her little observations, and then leave to go to the next story. And believe me, that's what they're doing, because they don't have especially now, the budgets to put people in courtrooms all day long. And they're just telling a story. They want a quick hit. They want it out. They want it now. And they're pissed that they now have real competition, and now they have to sit there for 8 hours because we will embarrass them if they don't. Like right now, the Murdoch trial that's happening. There are lawyers all over YouTube right now who have been watching every second of this trial. The media now has to do their job. They can't be lazy because they'll get called on it, which is why they're trying to take down the YouTube channels covering these things. They don't want to do their jobs. They want to just do their drive-by coverage, like Rush Limbaugh used to call them the drive-by media.
Drive-by media. I know. I'd love that. We can all, have a discussion about Rush Limbaugh some other time or never. But he was
or anytime. I love him, but that's because I knew him personally.
I grew up listening to him. Well, no, I grew up listening to him, and I'll say this: I don't want to get into a whole political thing. Although I'm
Kristen.
I'm right. I'm right of center politically. Although I'm not heavily political in my shows. But I grew up with in a house where we listened to him a lot and stuff. And anyway, I was just going to say he was really good at those catchphrases like the drive-by media. He was really good at nailing somebody
They're
with
they're
that, and
exactly
it's
like
true.
that.
They
They
drive by and they
drive by,
shoot and they
they
leave.
spray their bullets, they hurt everyone, and then they just move on to the next story. And it's like, wait a minute, you just got it all wrong. There was never a better description of the media, by the way, than the drive-by media. The Russia's king, man. He knew he was so good at pointing out the reality of things. And that is the reality of our media. And now everyone on every side is really kind of seeing it, right? Most
Right.
people hate the media. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Most people hate the media for good reason. We've been lied to so much.
Right. Oh no, after such a great speech. I'm glad she got to give her
Yeah.
speech. Well, I want to say one thing that she brought up Rush Limbaugh is that one thing that Rush Limbaugh used to say about celebrity activists, and so this would go for Amber Heard, Evan Rachel Wood, and some of the others, is that because celebrities, because actors, actresses, whatever, because they spend so much of their time in a fake world where, yeah, it's cool, they do a lot of cool stuff and whatever, and but it doesn't have like it's not real, right? It's all these fake situations that they have a kind of an emptiness, and they want to tether their lives to something real, and so they'll find these causes, right, that they can really plug into, and so I'm not an actress, I'm an activist, right? To kind of get that sense of meaning and everything. I mean, I know it's about narcissism too and just showing off, but I mean, I do think that there is something to the idea that when you do spend, and Evan Rachel Wood even said this in Phoenix Rising, I think, sort of, that when you spend all of your time, especially since childhood, in her case, in a fake world, that there is a kind of an emptiness that's created. And so I think that what we're seeing with her, and you can see it in Phoenix Rising, if you look at that documentary, is a real struggle to find an identity, right, Lisa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's just now add the Me Too movement and it just accelerates everything. And all you have to say is you're a victim and you get promoted in the media.
You do.
That's it. And it's free PR. You don't have to pay for it.
That's
you know
why
these
South
celebrities
Park
pay
was
for it.
so great. South Park the other day, like,
leave us alone.
this Instagram model victim.
Did you
Millionaire
see
Playboy victim? Like,
Did you
everyone's
see
a
the
victim.
I showed Kristen this. There was a South Park skit someone sent me, and I don't know how, it must not be recent. And it's promoting what is it? I am a victim. It's like DNA swab testing, and you can figure out what victim you are. Well, I'm 2% black. And then he says the N-word.
Oh geez. I mean,
so funny.
yeah, I think I saw that one a while ago. Look, you can only, at this point, the absurdity is so high. The level of absurdity is so high. I wanted to pull out Mackenzie's comment here. Mackenzie said, yes, I love this collab with you two. Thanks to the both of y'all for your hard work and coverage. These women need to be exposed and quite frankly should be criminally charged.
Mhm.
This is why I
Yeah.
put this topic on True Crime Tuesday. I believe that false allegations ought to be met with criminal charges. And this is something that does not happen. In fact, there is a story in my book about a woman who accused a man in New York City of rape, and she put him in jail, I want to say, for 20 some years. It turns
Whoa.
out when he got out, he got into a Facebook conversation with her and got her to confess that she made up the whole thing.
Whoa.
Well, so his record was expunged, of course, and so he was exonerated. But the state of New York refuses to
As we're getting to the juicy part.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, Lisa. We can keep it going, but
Yeah.
we'll wait for what she had to say there. Well, but it's good to bring up the false allegations in the criminal context, because there are a lot of men who are sitting in people in general, but a lot of men who are sitting in prison for things that and look, you know this too, Lisa. Eyewitness testimony, it's often really shitty. And there have been documented cases where you've had rape victims who have been face to face for extensive periods of time with their attackers, when they're being assaulted or whatever, and could swear that they know exactly what the guy looks like. And they convict a guy based on that eyewitness testimony of a woman who was face to face with a guy for a while. And guess what? Years later, DNA comes along. The guy's exonerated. No, you're okay. We just keep it going. We're talking about falsely accused. DNA exonerates these guys, and so it turns out that some of these women who just could have sworn up and down, honestly, that's the guy. it wasn't, right? So the mind, what we remember or think, it's anyway.
Yeah, we
sorry,
still
go ahead.
don't know. We still don't know who this woman is that did this to this man. The man's name was, it was two men, Gregory Counts and Van Dyke Perry. They were both arrested and charged with rape, sodomy, kidnapping, and more. The third man was never caught. Thank God, he got away. But the evidence didn't support any of what she said. They weren't linked by DNA. It was the DNA of somebody else. Anyway, it turns out she comes out and she says she lied. I try and get her name, right, to see did they charge her with filing a false police report, and
Sure not.
the state of New York won't give me her name or the police report based on the fact that she's a victim of sexual abuse. But she's not. And I argued with them I argued for weeks for this book saying, but she isn't. She's an admitted liar. So did you charge her? And like, who is she? And why can't we know? And I appealed it all the way up to the highest thing you can appeal for FOIA. And it came back, the outcome of the prosecution of the criminal case is not a determinative factor in whether it applies. Consequently, the Freedom of Information law provides no right of access to those records, regardless of the outcome of the criminal matter.
Wow. That's like you're kind of getting stuck in the wheels of the bureaucracy there, right? Or falling through the cracks or whatever, right?
They protected a liar, and they never filed. I don't think they filed any false police charges against her, or I would have been able to get the record. I mean, we cannot protect people like this. We just can't. I know you have to go soon, Kristen. You've got to go, and I should probably kill this stream anyway because the weather here is not cooperating. I mean, it's just going in and out so badly. I'm now connected through data on my computer on my hotspot. We'll see if
well,
that
from
gets
my
better.
perspective, honestly, from my perspective though, it hasn't been that distracting. So don't worry. I mean, you've gone in and out a few times, but like I think I really appreciate you having us on, and and especially because I know that you are connected to PJ Media, and you've been covering a lot of things for a long time, and it really does make me happy. And I know Lisa's the same way. It makes us happy to see people jumping on this story. And, yesterday I was talking to a big social media person who is going to start covering this with a really big following. And she expressed some concern of like, I don't want to be, stepping on anyone's toes. I know that you have been doing this a long time, you and others. And that's true. But like this story needs to get big, and I want it to get big, not only because I think it's good for the truth and good for the people involved and hopefully good for me because I've been covering it for a while, but also because it's not just a story about this weird rock star that got involved in this clusterfuck of something, right? Like this is an important social phenomenon, and it's not just happening to rock stars. It's not just happening to Johnny Depp. I get emails constantly from men who have been caught up in some version of this, even if it's more low key or less media, falsely accused, fired from their work or whatever, based on incorrect or based on lies, false allegations. And so I'm glad that this is raising awareness, and I hope that even if people don't care about Marilyn Manson per se, that they will care about this story because it's big and it's proving a big point.
There's a comment on Rumble. They want to know, is Colonel Kurtz an actual colonel?
Yeah, so this is it's an Apocalypse Now reference. I'm a huge Apocalypse Now fan. In fact, this is a famous line. There's the helicopters coming in. I love war movies, and my dad was in Vietnam, and so I have a real affection for Vietnam War films and stuff. So that's the name. It's from Apocalypse Now. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not like a homicidal maniac or anything like that.
You guys, if you're not subscribed to Colonel Kurtz on YouTube, you really need to be. And if you want to know a deep dive on this story, you need look no further than Colonel Kurtz's playlist on Marilyn Manson. Is there one in particular that you would suggest to get people caught up? I know you have a couple of different playlists in there.
Yeah, so there's one playlist. It says best, if you go to my YouTube channel, best of Marilyn Manson. It's like 12 videos of varying lengths, but I have one in particular. It's a half hour, and I go over all the reasons why I think Manson is innocent. And then I did one really recently about this newest lawsuit, the pedophile lawsuit or whatever. If people want to actually listen to her podcast where she contradicts herself, I went side by side and listened to the old podcast and then talked about the new lawsuit and just kind of demolished it. And the last thing I want to say is Lisa at the Manson Cases is, for people who are really interested in this case, she is generally better informed than I am, and I generally get my information these days from her. Like she'll send me something and say, "Oh, did you see this legal filing is just out?" And I'll be like, "Oh my god!" So my videos are great, and I hope people check them out. But she is really where it's at for like the latest cutting edge stuff. So check
And
her out.
Lisa, you're working on a website, right? Tell us about that.
So I've been working for on a website since probably July when I started getting into this, to have available the court documents because they do cost a lot of money, but also just to have some simple explainers like the FBI letter. It's so involved. It would be great if there was a page that would lay out the timeline. I'm hoping to have that available sometime this week, later this week. It won't have every document yet, but again, it's going to be continuously updated, and I'll provide updates on that website. There's also my podcast called the Marilyn Manson Cases, and I do have a YouTube channel, but primarily the podcast is where you can find me at every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, and just your Twitter, like your Twitter and your Instagram is always such a great source of information. But people should check her out. And then there's another person. He goes by Marilyn Manson Uncanceled. He has a website, Marilyn Manson Uncanceled, and he's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. He doesn't do shows like this, personal preference, but he's been there from the beginning, and he's a great source of information. So there are people out there, and now we've got Megan Fox. So I'm going to start telling people, you're going to start covering it some.
I am going to cover it. And if this, I have been planning on covering the defamation trial when it goes to trial. I'm hoping that it will be televised. I hope that they fight for that, because we need to expose stories like this. This has got to stop. And in fact, I can't think of a better way to end it than to quote Deuteronomy about what false accusers should face. My dad reminded me of this yesterday when we were on the phone. He said, I think the Old Testament has some ideas about what to do. And this is what it says. The judges shall inquire diligently, and if the witness is a false witness and has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him as he had meant to do to his brother. So shall you purge the evil from your midst, and the rest shall hear in fear and shall never again commit any such evil among you. Your eye shall not pity. It shall be life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot. And I truly believe that if these women, what they had planned for these men should be done to them. And what they had planned was total professional destruction and financial destruction and possible jail time. These women went to the FBI about Marilyn Manson. They went to the LA police. They tried to get him put in jail. I believe that they should go to jail. I believe they should be professionally ruined, and that they should have to pay as much money as possible to repay what they have done. Possibly more than that. I'm more than Old Testament. I'd be like double it. What you had planned for him, you get back double. I mean, because this is bearing false witness against someone is one of the worst things you can do. It's not a lie. It's different than lying, right? People lie all the time about lots of things, and sometimes you lie to save people's feelings, or you tell untruths. Everybody lies. Bearing false witness is what the commandments say. It says, thou shalt not bear false witness. It doesn't say thou shalt not lie. It says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That's what this is a very serious offense in the moral universe. It is a serious offense to our society, and we've got to stop doing it. Do not lie about one another to cause harm. That's why we have laws about defamation, because it truly does cause harm. It causes harm to professional reputations, to emotional status of the person. It's just wrong. It's much, much different than telling a lie, to make your spouse feel good about what they're wearing. It's much, much different than that. It's much more serious than that. And I think these women should pay. And it pisses me off that we don't live in a just society where they will pay. I feel like Amber Heard is she's still in that stupid movie. Right? Like they didn't even take her to the movie.
Well, and just to add very briefly before we leave, she didn't, Evan Rachel Wood and these other women, but particularly Evan Rachel Wood, she did not just bear false witness, as bad as that is. she has ginned up, she has constructed an intricate, premeditated, coordinated series of hits on this guy that that on multiple fronts involving multiple means of attack. I mean, it's just really, she has gone after this man in pretty much every way possible except to hire a hitman to go after him. And so I think, yes, that there should be an extreme amount of social shame and opprobrium and professional consequences and whatever. And I wish that there would be criminal consequences, I guess. But, we know that's not going to happen, but let's shame the hell out of her.
No, I absolutely agree. And John Feeder, you're so funny. You read my mind, by the way.
So let it be written.
When I wrote that on PJ Media, because I put that in my article, I wrote right after that, I said, let it be done to them. And then I thought, I know what I look, I'm like, what am I thinking of? And I looked it up in the Hebrew. It's so let it be written, let it be done. That's exactly what I read. And that's exactly what I wrote down. As it is written, let it be done. Because honestly, that's what would happen in a just world. And I know we don't live in a just world, but like you said, we can shame them. We can name them. We can keep talking about this. I hope you'll come back on again.
Thank you for
Kristen,
having us.
and Lisa too. I hope you'll both be back. I was so excited that you could join me today. And if there's anything I can do, you let me know. You send me anything you want out there, and I will put it out there, because you've done all the legwork. You guys have done such amazing work, and I'm just thrilled that you're doing it. Good for you. You're so courageous, so brave. And I promise my audience more women on this program. And look, it's been a ladies' day today, and we do support one another when we're out there doing good things, and trying to fight for the unjust things in this world, because there's too much of it. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. We'll see you again.
All righty. All right. Now, I have one more thing I need to tell you guys about. When you are writing all those notes that you're writing, when you're doing your calendars, when you're journaling, don't forget to pick up a bolt action. A Bastion bolt action pen at bastionboltactionpen.com. I've been using this sucker, and I've got an announcement to make, because I was planning our Freezer Meal Friday stream, which is happening on my locals, meganfox.locals.com. I was planning it for this Friday. There might be a small hiccup in the plan, because I want to do 10 meals, and I've been informed by Mr. Fox that I may not have it in the budget to get all of what I need to do it by this Friday, but I will be able to do it by next Friday. So let me just confer with him, make sure that I'm not bankrupting us. But we are going to do 10 meals. And I used this pen last night to do all my planning. And I love this pen. If you go to bastionboltactionpen.com and you type in my promo code MEG20, you'll get 20% off if you of a pen of your choice. And I love this pen. I'm loving it. I'm using it every day. It comes in all different colors. You can go to bastionboltactionpen.com, promo code MEG20, pick up this luxury pen. It's so nice and heavy. I love it. And I love the little action thing. It's fun to play with. It makes a fun little clicky noise. See that? I love it. And it comes in all different colors, comes in stainless, comes in black, different types of finishes. There's even a fountain pen one that I want to pick up at some point. And hopefully you guys will support the show. Go over there and pick up one of those. I know a lot of you are artists and journalists, and you do journaling possibly, or using a calendar. And I still write by hand. I type a lot, but I also write by hand. And this is how I do my planning. And I love having like a good feeling pen. I like having a substantial pen in my hand. It's so much different than those plastic things. And you know what's fun about this too? It comes with this little felt. Now, somebody told me that they thought it was a pocket protector, but I don't have, well, I do have a pocket. Let's see. No, see, it's too big. It wouldn't be, it's not an actual pocket protector. I put it in my purse, and that way I don't lose it, because it's nice and substantial. But it comes with this little felt carrier, and it comes in such a beautiful box too, with a bonus refill. So it's like getting two pens in one, and it comes in this beautiful box, which you can reuse. Look at how pretty that is. It's just like a jewelry box. I really like it. I've been approached by other companies, to partner with them, and I've never liked one until Bastion Bolt Action Pen. It's a sheath. It's a pen sheath. And yeah, you're going to leave your touch DNA on it. So just remember that. when in case you should use it in what's funny? On True Crime, the last True Crime Tuesday, I was doing this promo and I was like, you could use it as a weapon. You could like poke somebody's eye out with it if you needed to because it's nice and heavy. Well, I sent that to the company because I sent it to them and they responded how much they loved it. They were like, you really could use it as a weapon. It's very pokey. Yes. Yes. So it's appropriate for True Crime Tuesday because if you've got this little baby on you and someone should attack you, you can just whip it out and right to the eyes. Right to the eyes or the neck, possibly. Um, Spirit Matter says, I need the sheath to be in a neon color so I won't lose it in my bag. Well, that I don't know if they have. Unsheath your pen weapon, for it is mightier than the sword. So good. So anyway, visit them and also visit the merch store because we have all kinds of new fun stuff in there. For Fox's Sake, which is one of my favorite new materials that are in the merch store. You can find that in the links in the description. You can go there, support the show. And of course, because we're always demonetized here, especially on True Crime Tuesday, we do appreciate the super chats and the Rumble rants. And in fact, I haven't checked on Rumble in a while and I got kicked out of locals. So I don't even know what's going on over there. Although the live chat was fun. People were sharing memes of The View earlier, which cracked me up. But I sure do love my locals family. MeganFox.locals.com. If you guys are not on there, you really need to be because we are having fun. In fact, today, after this stream, I think I'm going to do a cleaning challenge. I think we might do a clutter challenge. Getting rid of 27 things. It's called the 27 Fling Boogie. And this in my favorite book, The Fly Lady Sync Reflections. She talks about the 27 Fling Boogie, which is about getting rid of 27 things and decluttering your house. I got to put the pen down because I'm going to mess with the bolt action. It's going to bother you guys because I do. Whenever I'm holding it, I mess with it. It's like a good fidget. So let's see. Okay, I'm back on locals. I got back in. Oh, Red Jen, you bought a pen? I can't wait till you get it too. Would you please post a picture when you get it and let me know what you think of it? I really like it. It writes really smooth. It feels good in my hand. And I'm a stickler about pens. I like to buy substantial pens and I have not found one this heavy in a long time that wasn't that expensive. I mean, it's not at first, I think it's like $59 and then you get 20% off if you use my promo code MEG20. So that's pretty good. Plus you get 2 pens in one because it comes with a refill. So yeah, let me know. All right. As for the freezer meal streams, let's talk about that for a second. So I was going to do it this Friday, but I might have a budget issue, and you guys know what that's like, right? I mean, inflation sucks, and we all have to. Seriously, I am so freaking sick of this. I am sick of today. I am so sick of today. I keep getting kicked out of StreamYard, and the weird thing is that I gotta tell them about this because I don't think it's all my internet problem, like with the power going out, because I have I have reset. I have reset so many times my router and everything, and it looks like it's working. Something nefarious is going on. I mean, the power went out for 2 seconds and then it came right back on. So I need to like report this. I got to report this to StreamYard right now. And I don't think it's just because here's the weird part. So the power goes out, everything resets. I get back online, and it's I can only access Google and YouTube. How is that possible? Nothing should be working if the internet is down. Nothing should be working. What's dinging? Oh, it must be locals. No, it's not locals. What's dinging in my ear? Weird. Oh, it must be StreamYard. Aha. StreamYard's responding. This may be due to your interference. Yeah, no, I did that. I did all that. I rebooted my computer. I rebooted the router. Except the incognito. I didn't do that. God. So I lose power for a couple minutes. The router goes down. I reboot the router and I can only get to Google and YouTube. Does that even make sense? Any of you techies in there know? Does this even make sense? I mean, it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And I don't know, I realize that we have high winds today, so that's probably part of it. And I need to check if there was an outage, like a reported outage. But it's like some websites work and some websites don't. That doesn't make any sense. All of my information that I know about the internet, that doesn't make sense to me. I can open another window, an incognito window in another tab and enter the studio from there. All right, fine, I'll try it. I hate doing this. I really do. I hate it. I hate troubleshooting. I don't even know how to, oh, new incognito window. Oh, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, go to the merch store and get some new stuff. I did have other things I wanted to tell you about though. See, no, I can't do this now because then I have to remember my password. That's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I'm just going to have to do the best that I can because there were other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. All right. I did a hard router reset and a computer reboot while I was on the phone. So I switched to my phone and that's why my camera was moving around when I was interviewing them. And then I did the hard reset on everything and it seemed to come back and work just fine. And then now all of a sudden I'm getting thrown out of StreamYard again. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And yet the other websites are working. Rumble's working, YouTube's working. Twitter was not working. I should check Twitter again. Let me see if Twitter's working. I'm back on my Wi-Fi right now. And I'm connected by an Ethernet cable because you all were, you have to be connected by an Ethernet cable. So I bought these Orbi things. It cost me $300. $300 freaking dollars for the Orbi boosters. I'm plugged directly into one. This should not be happening. Okay. Looks like it looks like Twitter is back up. Oh, by the way, I have to share this with you because I am so annoyed at this going around the internet. This is one of the reasons why we have the problems that we have. Can I just show you? Can I show you? Did anybody see this? Because this really pissed me off. Anybody see this tweet going around? This guy named John Miller shares this beautiful picture of Emilia Clarke and says, LMAO, wow, Daenerys Targaryen didn't just hit the wall. She flew into it full speed on a dragon. This woman is beautiful. And my friend Mike Harlow had such a great thing to say. He said, sometimes women really just can't win. Get plastic surgery, people will hate you for it. Don't get surgery and age, people will hate you for it. And I just want to say, those of you out there who are like, you're having problems, meeting women or finding good women. This is part of it. This is part of why you cannot possibly value women only on their sexual attractiveness and then expect to have good relationships with women. And by the way, this woman is totally attractive. I don't know why, because she has some crow's feet. Like, I'm so sick and tired of this narrative that women hit the wall at some point. Let's talk about the wall. I want to talk about the wall. There is no wall. There's no wall. It doesn't matter if you're beautiful or not, because some women are never beautiful. They've never been beautiful. Do they have no value because they're not beautiful to certain people? One of the most influential women in my life, the most important women in my life, was my grandma Vicky, who was obviously covered in wrinkles and overweight and used a cane. And Her value to me increased with every day that she lived on this planet. In fact, she still has value to me. And anyone who has a mother or a grandmother should never use phrases like hit the wall to describe a woman. And some people on Twitter are arguing with me that this is even about women. They're like, oh, that phrase is used for men too. Like, no, it's not. Men don't hit a wall. Men become more financially attractive as they age. They become more financially stable. They even become more attractive physically sometimes. I mean, hello, Sean Connery. Hello, Bruce Willis. I see you. There's no, this idea that women lose their value when they become older has got to stop. Anyone who tells you this is a bad person. They're just a bad person. They're not being honest. I mean, I would like to see these men tell their mother that she has no value because she's no longer physically attractive in the traditional sense. And when you love someone, whether it's your mother or your sister, or your grandmother, your wife, your daughter, you love them and their value is their value regardless of what they look like, because otherwise, what would happen if they were burned in a fire? I keep telling you people this, like this culture of looks is everything is so bullshit. It's fake, it's wrong, and it's destroying you. It's destroying your relationships between men and women, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Yeah, Amelia Clark has also had 2 aneurysm operations over the years. And yeah, she has. She's had some serious health concerns. And I just think we need to be very careful, more careful about the way that we speak about one another. This is insane. This is insanity. And Mike's absolutely right. Women can't win. You get the plastic surgery, they make fun of you. You don't get the plastic surgery, they make fun of you. Like, what is this? Why is Amelia Clark's value only based on how she looks? It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that really pissed me off. Oh, and then something else I wanted to on True Crime Tuesday. This is something great that we need to look at. Let me go to my profile. Hold on. Profile. You got to see this. This is some serious crime happening right here.
This is real. And it's really happening. Okay, so this is not a joke. This is real, and it's really happened. And I just got home tonight with my family, so my wife's shooting this video. I'm in a bankruptcy hearing, personal and corporate for InfoWars, and the Justice Department is involved and ordered me to be at a hearing today. And they spent probably 5 minutes of the meeting that was over 3 hours long on my cat. This is Mushu, my 5-year-old daughter. Mushu was 2 years ago. And they wanted to know if assets were hidden in the cat. The cat was like $2,000, and it is a ragdoll cat, and we really do love it. But they were very serious about the cat and its value, and they may want the cat for the Sandy Hook families. So the deal's broke. You guys aren't getting the cat. This is next level. This is harassment. No one's ever heard of this. My lawyer's never heard of this. This is just insane. And I mean, what, do you want my children next? Do you want to like sacrifice my children or something? So this cat is really sweet. My daughter really likes the cat. He's a little bit tired of me holding him, but I mean, here he is. This is the terrorist right here.
The terrorist.
And this is the reality that we live in here in America in 2023. Justice Department hearings with people laughing in the background when they say, we want your cat.
So this is where we're at now in America. This is where we're at. They're actually going after Alex Jones's daughter's cat because it was an expensive cat. This is absurd. The Justice Department is just trying to punish him any way they can. And he's right to ask, what's next? My children? Are you going to take my children? Well, don't be surprised if they try, Alex. Don't be surprised. That's what they use CPS for. CPS is a weaponized arm of the government. It is disgusting what they are doing, going after this man's cat now, a family pet. And by the way, $2,000 is not a huge price to pay for a pet. I believe our standard poodles were always over, they were around $1,500. I got a good deal on my German Shepherd. I think we paid $800 for the first one and maybe $900 for the second one. So that was a good deal because they're usually a lot more than that. That is not an extravagant price to pay for an animal. But the fact that the Department of Justice is going after the pet of a child just to spite Alex Jones, hiding assets in a cat, you guys, who's going to investigate the Department of Justice for doing this? Who is going to do this? Who's going to actually, is there anyone who can investigate the Department of Justice for this kind of ridiculous action against Alex Jones? For one, they lied and said that he was worth 200 billion or however many dollars they said he was worth. He's not worth that much. He can't pay the money that they've said he owes. And yes, they are treating him like he shot the children in that school himself. It's disgusting. This is just ridiculous. And what are they going to do? Are they going to give the cat to one of the Sandy Hook families? Will that replace their child? I mean, this has gone on way too far. Way too far. Yes. Linux Charms. Look, I feel for the Sandy Hook parents, but they need to calm the hell down. Alex didn't kill their children. The ire is directed incorrectly. It's true. It is. I mean, the man apologized multiple times for believing people who were telling lies. I don't know what else they want him to do. It's ridiculous. The $1 billion judgment was way overboard, but watching the Department of Justice now go after his cat should wake some people up. What do you think? Do you think it will wake some people up? I hope so. I hope so, because it's like out of control, frankly. I think it's out of control. Good Lord. All right. So tomorrow, what's going to happen tomorrow? So tomorrow is Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, I like to take your calls. So we are going, I don't know what's on the topic for tomorrow, probably just headlines and also just taking your calls. I've had some great calls with you guys recently. And I love it when we take calls on this program, because it gives me a chance to talk to the audience and hear what you have to say and what you're interested in, what you want to talk about. And I just want to say, I appreciate my audience very much for keeping the drama out of my chat. I appreciate that. I know that it's been a rough couple of weeks with YouTube drama and stuff that I just refuse to get into. And I appreciate my chat being above it. I appreciate Linux Charms. Meredith, how's our mug coming, by the way? Should I show a preview to the, I need to show a preview to the chat, I think. I want to pull up your drawing. You just started coloring it, I know. But like, wait, let me, oh, hold on. My daughter wants to know if she should be opted out of something at school. Look how good she is. They're learning about STDs, wants to know if she should be opted out. Nope. Learn it. That's my idea of good sex ed. Teach them all about the nasty diseases that they can spread around. Nope. Sit there and learn it. Honest to God. That's the job of our administrators and mother approved with pictures. Yep. Weeping sores. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yep. The herps. This is reasonable and useful sex education. Please do teach my child about all the STDs that she could possibly contract if she is not careful, and if she doesn't mind her P's and Q's. But anyway, I do appreciate my chat for staying away from the drama and for helping to keep people on topic in the chat. I do appreciate you guys. Raceland 9000, thanks for the Rumble rant, says totally corrupt and political persecution. I agree with that. How you guys doing over there on the locals chat? Locals is so much fun, you guys. So I have a chef who's going to help, who's going to give us a demonstration before my Freezer Meal Friday stream of how to cut up a whole chicken, because I have at least two recipes that require whole cut up chickens. But I've never done it myself. I've never actually. I always just buy it cut up. But I think you can save money if you. Oh my God, Leah just popped into the studio. Leah Geo, are you actually here? Can you talk? Can you talk? You let me know in the private chat if you want to pop in. She's been having some health stuff and has been absent for a while, and so but hey, you think about that, Leah. But you know what we haven't done? We have not done our squats. I let us go for 2 hours without doing it. So it's time to get up and do our squats. Let's go. Let's do it.
You impose fatness on you. You did it by going, oh, I want the butter on the popcorn. Oh, I want the butter on the ice cream. Oh, I want the butter on the sandwich. Oh, I want the butter on the salad. Stop eating butter. Can you just get up, walk 1 mile? Do squats! Walk farther. And if you can't walk, crawl, roll, get dragged by a goddamn forklift. Whatever is wrong with you, just move. Ever. Get off the chair, get off the couch. No one is coming to service you while you sink into that furniture, while you become one with the pleather your poor ass got on that Walmart couch. Can you try not floating into sadness? Stop eating, stop drinking, start walking, start doing anything that you haven't been doing, you fat piece of shit.
Oh my God, I got kicked out of the studio again. I got kicked out again. Leah, what happened? And I guess Leah got kicked out too. Oh, no. No. How did that happen? Oh, there she is. Leah, you're back.
The hell happened?
I'm having the worst day ever because there's a windstorm here.
It just went into like a frozen screen and I'm like, she disappeared. What's happening? There's nothing playing. I thought I had to jump in and do an emergency ad break.
Yeah, no, okay, so there's a windstorm. My power
Yeah.
got knocked out for a few minutes and then it came back on in the middle of my interview with Colonel Kurtz. Like I've been waiting for this interview for like a year. Like I wanted
ever in eternity. Like how good is she? I love Colonel Kurtz. I love her.
I know, she's great.
She's fantastic.
And so my power goes out, so I'm on the phone, like I'm doing the stream from my phone, from my data connection, and I'm trying to get back on. I finally get back on, and now all of a sudden it just keeps going out. So now I'm connected to my computer again with data. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what's going on, but it's bullshit. What a day. I'm so glad to hear from you. I miss you.
Oh my word, woman. Take a breath. Breathe. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 2 a.m. It's move day. The whole damn place is being up shift. This is like coordinating a wedding. I'm over it. I should have bought a wedding planner for this godforsaken move. So I'm going back into town, as I talked to you about, because I've had, my back issue is really, really bad. I'm just going to tell you outright. I've had it all my life as a child. I had a very terrible incident when I was a young woman at the hands of someone else. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm done. Someone did it. I'm in my 40s. I'm still paying a price for it. And so I've been in and out of the hospital with that. But I'm good. I'm actually really, really good. I'm looking forward to the change. I've got to get the new studio set up. So that'll be a good back support for me, and then I'll be kicking goals after that. I just had a bit of a, you know what life's like. Throws a few stones along the track, and then you get back up and keep on rolling on.
Well, we have missed you. I know I have missed you.
You miss me.
My bladder has missed you very much.
Yeah, you only want me for the pee breaks. That's
not true.
Horrendous
But I do.
treatment. I just come out of the communist bloody. You know what I think about the hospital and the communists in there?
Oh,
no, you can't go to the bathroom on your own. Can't I, asshole?
There's nothing worse
Try
though
me.
than having you being in Australia so far away, and you're the only contact I have for you, and like you're like locked up in the hospital without your phone, and I'm like,
Barefoot Tam, I need a yoga swing. I so do, because you know what? When I actually do my back exercises, the cracking that's going on, it makes me want to go, oh, yuck, that sounds freaking horrible.
I do, I believe in the yoga swing. I mean, it helps. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. I especially love it for the shoulder stretching and the hanging, because I can't just hang from a bar. It hurts too much. But if I hang from those, I can put more weight on my feet and just
Yeah.
like control the control how much of it. By the way, I'm about to go get injections now into my trigger points. Do you know about this? Do you know about trigger point injections?
Oh, of course I do. Yes, I do. And I tell you,
That's what they're telling me I need to do now, because
Okay.
nothing I've been doing is working. So I've had this.
Have you got a Shakti mat?
No, I don't have that yet.
I do. It's a bed of nails.
Oh no, I'm losing you. Am I getting kicked out again?
No,
Leah, I lost you.
Are you
Can you
kidding?
guys
I'm
still hear me?
here.
Gosh
I'm
damn
still
it. Every
here.
time the wind blows. Every freaking time.
the wind blows. Every time the wind blows.
Oh, now you're back. Okay, now you're back.
So
All
it's
right.
so stop being so windy, Megan.
Oh God, it's just
You
so
got to do something
ridiculous.
about that wind. You got a wind problem.
I've got a wind problem.
Is there something at the pharmacy for that? You know
So
what? I am
don't-
sunburnt to the shit house, and you are sitting in the freezing.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold
Because-
and snowing. That's what the problem is. It's like it's super
Well,
cold.
you can't spend 5 minutes in the sun in Australia. We've got times of the year where we actually go out in the sun, and we take that pretty seriously. Like our UV index here is extremely high because our skin cancer, deaths from skin cancer is just off the tap. So we take it quite seriously.
Yeah.
But I had to go out and help supervise all the shed stuff and getting all that organised. I mean, I'm on my own. This is man's jobs. I'm not happy. I've got things to say. This is
God.
man's work. I don't want to be in the shed pulling crap out. This is bullshit. I'm done.
Well, I think you can hire men to do that.
I had to. I literally had to.
Yeah.
I'm not a feminist, as you know. That's bullshit to me. I know my base roles. I can do a lot of shit on my own. But there's shit that I just can't do.
Right.
Like, and especially when I'm a really strong-minded person, so I'll get in and get the work done myself. But when your body's like, not,
It's tough when your body
the
won't.
doctor is saying to you, if you pick that item up, you are going to pay a hefty price because.
Tell me about it.
Well, what they found in the hospital is they've now absolutely just said on my file, forever and eternity, I'm never allowed to take another painkiller again because my allergies are too extreme.
Oh no.
So I'm just like full like Shakti mat shit and all this. Like, what am I going to do else? I've got to go like full yoga.
Oh no.
I don't care. Like I'm good with that. I'll survive. I've got to. I don't know. Got a set of billy goat balls in my handbag. I pull them out every now and then. Keep on going. That's what you got to do when a shit hits the fan, isn't it?
I guess. I hope that these trigger point injections that I'm signing up for are going to actually work, because
Yeah.
I've had this pain now over here since
months.
December.
Yeah.
And like
It started around December. Yeah.
it is so intense. It just never goes away. Like I go to the chiropractor, he does the adjustment.
Lennox.
It feels
See what-
good for like 2 hours, and then it comes back. And
see what Lennox Charms just wrote. Lennox, that's what they treated me in the hospital with. That's all they could treat me with was CBD and THC. That's what they were doing in the hospital.
is it helping?
Yeah, the THC. So it is medical grade stuff. They were using it in the hospital. They're using it now. It's microdose, so you don't get high from it.
Uh-huh.
But what it does is, so you don't get I did get stoned. I'll be honest, because the first attempt at it was like, whoa, that shit's strong. It's like
Yeah.
Delta 9 and it's like all these, it's a whole thing. But I had to get to learn to the understanding of what the CBD does and the THC does individually because I couldn't get a grasp on it. And the THC in very small doses actually stops the transmitter in the brain for the pain. So but you've got to do this little tiny what they call microdosing, and it's over a period of time. And then I believe the CBD, from my understanding of how they were explaining it to me, is for the inflammatory effect within your body and helps get rid of the pain. So
I wanted my mother to try that because she has rheumatoid arthritis, and
yes, and
she
it's
wouldn't.
very good for rheumatoid.
She
It won't
wouldn't get
affect the
past
mind.
she didn't like how the first one she tried made her feel out of her mind. And I kept
Yes.
telling her, I was like, but you have to keep trying different doses and you have
It's
to keep trying.
because
She
they
wouldn't do
lower it,
it.
lower it, and lower it until you're not out of your mind.
I know.
You're
She wouldn't do
still
it though.
functioning at a normal rate. It doesn't take that sort of.
Oh,
I mean,
Lisa,
when I-
that's interesting. Lisa says my acupuncturist did dry needling, which took all
Yep.
of my neck and shoulder pain away. I've never tried that. Is
Yeah,
that the same thing as
it
acupuncture though?
is. Doctors told me even dry needling may help.
I don't even know
If
what
you
is
can
that.
stand to even lay on a Shakti mat,
Yeah.
it's very hard. If nobody's ever tried it, if there's anybody in the chat that has one where they lay on it, it's very helpful. It's hard to start with. It's a bed of nails. It hits all your acupuncture points. Now, I have literally fallen asleep on this bed of nails twice, but you've got to get through about a good. You've got to get through a pain threshold to get to the point where the body starts to relax, and it has helped my back. Yes, immensely.
Well,
I'm
that's
actually up and
interesting.
about, which is amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Leah, this is, by the way, this is the first time I've spoken to Leah
Yeah.
in person since that day when, remember, she was getting hauled off to the ER on the show. So I've been worried about you, and I'm so glad to hear that you're back up and around again.
Yeah,
Yes, I
it's
have used a percussion gun, by the way. I have one, and it sometimes helps, but the problem is that whatever's going on with my muscles, they're just in a constant state of contraction and they won't let go.
yes. So
And it's
when
giving me a headache, like right here. I constantly
Yep.
have a headache here. It goes all the way down the back of my neck into my shoulder. And like, no
it's
matter
so
what.
common. This back neck thing is very common, and
Well,
it's
I got a new chair. I got a new
And-
chair that is
Why are you
helping.
sticking your boobs out like that?
Well, 'cause
Like,
I'm
it's
laying
not like
down.
everybody in the whole entire chat isn't noticing.
I'm
right now. Just like,
reclining.
I noticed it. They can't possibly not
I'm
be. But
reclining. I can't help it when I recline. That's what happens.
That's a cool shirt you have on.
Thank
I
you.
love this shirt.
Mr. Fox brought it home for me from his trip.
Of course he did.
He was in Arkansas, and he went to the Bass Pro Shops there, and he bought gifts for everyone because he does
I'm
that.
starting to get the feeling Mr. Fox is a boob man.
Uh-huh. Oh, I forgot. I am taking magnesium too. Yes.
Yes, magnesium. Taking
It smells
me too.
really bad
Yes.
though. It smells
Gotta-
really bad.
You've got to take double the amount with a muscle problem. Did you know that?
Yes,
This
I'm
is not
taking a
medical
lot.
advice. I'm not giving medical advice.
Yeah,
Leah,
no,
your
this
tool
is not
wrench ain't shy either. What's that mean?
your cartoon.
Oh,
Your avatar.
Trust me, my bazookas aren't that big.
Do
I'm
you
self-flattering
sleep
there.
on your side? I sleep on my side.
Yes,
And right now I don't sleep very much because the pain is just really bad. Sometimes
Same.
I put a neck brace on and that helps. But
Yep.
yeah, I got this new chair, which is great because it has a recline and it has a neck rest.
Yes,
And
that's what I got to get for the studio. So that's the.
I just have to remember to keep my head back on it, like to keep, just lean back instead of forward. It's a hard transition, but hey, I want to talk about what's coming up on Locals. I want you guys to see what I'm doing. In case you're not following me on Locals, it's meganfox.locals.com, and I am getting ready for a freezer meal Friday. And like I said, I don't know if it'll be this Friday or next Friday, but it's coming up soon. So I posted the grocery list. If you guys want to, you don't have to make all 10 meals with me because I'm going to do 10 this time, but you can pick and choose which ones you want. Clickety click. I put the link below. And
I'm going to actually do this with you this time. So the removalists are coming today. like in another couple of hours to start packing this place up and transporting it all into town. So that's going to be hectic. But I'm going to do this with you because I'm going to try and make meals a bit easier for myself once I get to the new place and settled in.
Yeah, and it will make it much easier. Look,
Yeah.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Rachel Ray's braised pork tacos with pickled red onions. That looks amazing. And I'm actually planning on doing that meal the day we're doing the stream. That's gonna be my meal for that night. So I'm not gonna freeze that one because it has to slow cook for a while. So that one's just gonna like stay in the oven and then I'm gonna serve it for dinner that night. Then we're doing beef with broccoli.
Just sorry to interrupt, but that tens machine that Link's mentioned in the chat, have you got one of those?
I do, but I need to get a new one because mine is dying. It's
okay. So
it's too old.
Because I thought they were just for old people. I'll tell
Oh
you.
no, the tens unit is great.
Oh my goodness, I got one and I was like, what is this thing? This is like heaven.
Yeah, I need a new one.
I so overused it. It was like that thing was buzzing its guts out. I loved it. It didn't go anywhere inappropriate. Trust me, it didn't.
That would hurt. No, that makes your muscles jump.
I reckon that would damn hurt.
Oh my God. Would hurt. No, that makes your muscles jump. That would be horrible. So we're gonna do beef with broccoli, Indonesian beef stew, which sounds so good, you guys. It has coconut milk in it. If you know anything about me, I'm a coconut milk freak. I love coconut milk. Chicken tagine, which has chickpeas in it, and I'm trying to find recipes with chickpeas because I've got cans full of them in my pantry. So I'm trying to do like a pantry clean out. Coq au vin, which is like a French chicken with red wine. It's really delicious. It's something that
complicated.
It's really not. These are all slow cooker meals, by the way. I decided to concentrate on slow cooked meals so that you could just grab the bag out of the freezer, dump it in your slow cooker in the morning and turn it on and walk away. Okay.
Well, that counts me out because I just threw the slow cooker in the skip bin and that skip bin got dragged away yesterday.
Well, you don't have to use a slow cooker.
Mine was not working properly. It didn't seem to temperature.
Do you have an Instant Pot?
We don't call them those names. You may need to find another word to explain what that appliance is. What's an Instant Pot?
You don't know what it's like a pressure cooker. It's the new thing that everyone does.
My mother had one in like 1940.
You don't have an Instant Pot, Leah?
I've never even heard of it. I know that
you're missing out. Hold on.
And how dangerous they were.
Hold on. You know what?
I never listened to a word that woman said.
Amazon. Hold on. I have a shop, by the way, an Amazon shop. I need to add an Instant Pot in here. Obviously, do you guys know about my Amazon shop? It's Amazon.com/shop/Megan Fox. And in the cooking items, I'm going to add an Instant Pot in here because right now I just have a few things that I use that you guys are always asking me about.
Any suggestions you have on making life easier in the kitchen?
Oh my God. Look at this.
Tell us all about it because I'm over it. And food is so expensive.
This is an Instant Pot. You don't know about this? Okay, it's an it is a steamed
We
cooker.
don't say 6. That's a bloody New Zealanders, John Fedder, get ready. We don't say 6. That's Kiwis. Kiwis say 6. Aussies say sex. You want sex? Give me your sex, love. Don't throw us in with the damn Kiwis.
Look, so this has a slow cooker and a pressure cooker in it. Like you can do both. And these are great. It will cook something that you would normally cook in a slow cooker. It'll do it in 30 minutes instead of 6 hours. So you can do
add to cart. See that button there?
Yeah, add to cart. I need to put this in my shop.
Credit card for me.
I need to put this in my shop. Seriously, you need one of these.
Okay, I do. Yes.
But here's the thing: if you don't have a slow cooker, you can still slow cook in a Dutch oven. The one that's in my store, my Amazon store, right here. Here's a. Where is it? Here is a
big, cast iron pot that I can. It's kind of cast iron. Yeah, one of those. I've got one of those.
This is a Dutch oven. Yep. You can slow cook in that by putting the oven on like 250, putting whatever you have inside, covering it, sticking it in the oven at 250, and just leave it there all day. That's same thing as a slow cooker.
Okay, I've got one of those.
So yeah, you can do that. And yeah, Dutch oven is great. Absolutely great.
They do come out real nice. Any meat in a Dutch oven is so tender. Well, you're frozen in an unfortunate position.
What did I miss? I cannot believe that I got kicked out again. Leah,
I
did
did
you
too.
go
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, I got blown off screen, man.
So when I get kicked out, you get kicked out?
Yeah, I get kicked out.
That
Yeah, I
doesn't
got to
make
keep refreshing.
any sense. Anyway, so those are the recipes that I'm going to do this next time we do a freezer meal stream. And I've got a guy who's a chef who's going to do a tutorial with us before the freezer meal stream. We're going to do it in StreamYard on a locals only exclusive. He's going to teach us how to cut up a whole chicken, because 2 of the recipes
Oh,
call for
righto.
whole cut up chickens. And so we're going to do
Gotta
that
do it.
together. I've never done it. It's going to be like a
Got to do it
child.
properly.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun.
So, like putting right down the center, and then how to actually do the legs off properly, how to do the wings off properly, like all that shit. Like actually cut it, because I haven't done it either from a whole chicken.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do a tutorial on how to cut up a whole chicken. And actually, I think that will save us money, because when you buy a whole cut up chicken, I think it's
Yeah.
more money than just buying a whole chicken and
It
doing it
actually
yourself.
is. I've noticed that here. The food prices here in Australia have just gone absolutely ridiculous, Megan. I don't know what's going on in this country. What a dirtbag shithole it has become.
I know, it's bad.
It's
Well,
bad.
I think I'm going to have to call it quits, because I don't think that StreamYard's going to let me stay on. I think the storm is getting the best of me. So I'm going to have to call it quits today. But thanks for tuning in today, you guys. And Leah, I'm so glad you're back.
And I'll be back up and running with you on Monday. Hopefully, if every one of these people that I have orchestrated to conduct this great plan in moving come together as I've planned it.
Great.
Relying on other people is also, you have to have plan B backup just in case they don't turn up on time.
That's true. This is very true. But I'm so
hopefully-
glad you're up and around, and I'm glad this moving day thing is going to be over soon, so that you can just get back to the usuals of life.
I want to get back into a routine and just get this shit over and done with. You know how it is. It just sucks.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
but
does.
I've had some realizations in all this process too. So I'm actually happy that I got a bit unwell and dealt with some shit I had to unpack. So that was good. Got over that. And I'm feeling pretty good, actually.
I always tell my husband when it's time to move, we tease that we need to hide all lawyers' information, because that's when the divorce word comes out. Whenever we're moving, it's like, I hate you.
I know. Imagine trying to do this. I've never done this on my own as a single woman. This is really strange.
It's
I
hard.
am finding it very challenging as a single adult grown female, and my children are growing up and they live in different places, and they can't help me right now because they've got work engagements, and everything is just like suddenly fallen on me. And I'm like, I really gave that some thought, and I'm thinking, I don't like this. I don't think I'm built to be a single female in this society. I really gave it some thought. I don't like it, but yet I can't find somebody, because it's like, oh, you're past your use by date.
No,
That's all
stop
I
it.
hear. That's fucking all I hear.
We were
Are we
talking
past
about
2
that
hours?
earlier. There is
I'm
no
so-
such thing. The wall does not exist. Women do
I'm done
not
with it.
lose
I'm
their
going to call
value.
it out now. Every time I hear it, I'm going to start calling it out.
I hate it. I hate it.
I'm so sick of hearing it being drummed in my skull that I'm not worth anything because I've been married. Go
Mhm.
fuck yourself. I'm done with it. I'm
Well,
not
look,
a used up
all I
piece of
have to
shit.
do, all you have to do to prove that theory wrong is to ask the same men who say those things, and
How
what
damaged
value,
they are.
what
Stop.
value does your grandmother or mother have to you?
I'm
Because
going to start asking those guys that are divorced and have got such a miserable bloody opinion on women that are over the age of 25, why they're so damn cut up and hurt, and stop bloody sitting on their chats there and feeding this bloody bullshit to everybody else. All it is trauma bonding. Stop it.
I
I'm
know.
pissed. I'm not
All right,
listening
look,
to it
do you
anymore.
guys remember this mug? I promised you that I was going to get this mug in the merch store. Sorry for having great tits and correct opinions on everything. Well, Meredith has been working on the fox that we were going to put on the mug, and I want to show you what she's been doing. Here's a little preview. How fantastic is this? Let me zoom in so you can see it.
I love it.
Isn't it great?
I love this. I really,
Isn't it
really love it.
fantastic? Meredith,
That
you're
is
so awesome.
She's great.
I know. She's
Where's
amazing.
mine? I need like some Australian thing.
Isn't this fantastic? That's going to go on the mug. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be so good.
I'm going from the bush right into the heart of the city. My brain is going to be mashed by traffic sound, tooting
You're going to be
horns,
fine. It'll be
sirens. I'm not used to that. I live in silence. Across the road constantly in the park is my kangaroos in my paddock. It's silent here.
Can you go visit?
I'm not fucking driving all the way out here to go visit. Yeah, the price of petrol. You call it gas.
Yeah.
Who can afford that? And you've got enough wind and gas in you right now.
True. All right, everybody. I got to get running. Leah, stick around for a second. Stay in the studio. And you guys...
When this Murdoch trial's over, we're going to kick this thing in the guts and keep this rolling a bit harder, eh? Because it seems like everybody's over there watching that.
Yeah, it'll be all right. Well, it comes and goes. It, ebbs and flows, and we're doing all right. I like my little show.
Do too.
And
I like it. So
I like
personal.
my little audience, and I really appreciate them. And I'm feeling really warm and fuzzy towards them today, and for getting me through these last couple of weeks, because there's been a whole lot of drama that I don't want to do, and I appreciate that my chat has been staying on topic. And I just love you guys. I love you.
I love that smaller, intimate chat, like sometimes it can be so overwhelming when it's just flying up the screen and people can't get a word in.
Well,
And
exactly.
I think a lot of people do enjoy an intimate chat. So I can see that because I've appreciated it myself so many times. You just don't feel like you can get a word in sometimes when it's flying up the screen too fast.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard to even keep up. And I just appreciate my chat so much. And I feel like you guys have you get me, you understand me. And I love you. And thanks for being here. And every day that you show up, I'm always honored by it. I'm honored. And I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow, because tomorrow we take calls, and Wednesday is it's turning out to be like my favorite day of the week. Because I love talking to people. And
I think that's great. I really do. Because I think
it's been fun.
It's nice to be able to give other people a voice and thoughts and opinions and expressions and, just a discussion.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And I love to hear what you're thinking, and I love feeling connected to you guys. And I love hearing what you have to say. So that's coming up tomorrow on Wednesday. And I'll see you then. Take care, everybody.
Have fun, world.
Lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. Say goodbye. No, I don't want to stay. alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna stay. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've
problem
seen
is he
Cameron
should have
Johnny's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yeah.
a string of
Do you recall
garlic
when
and
we
some
went
holy
into
water.
Mr. Judson
And a cross.
Restored's
A crucifix
bedroom?
one.
May the
Do you
power of
recall,
Christ
or no,
compel you.
No, I don't.
You realize this house was infested with
Just up for
succubuses.
that,
And
there's a picture up here with you of what it, yes. Do you recall what that was there when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
oh my God.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why you
known
wanted to
as
drown her.
Lasis. And that is
Witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Van-